guys.
Welcome, misfits. Welcome to the party. To our Skeptic Bible Study episode, a year of celebration. In this episode, God tells us which year is the Sabbath before he goes on a long rant. I know. I'm like, really? You're going to go there? A long rant about a jubilee year. So daring, yet so brave. So come join James W.
Let's do it.
And myself, Amy Newman, as we get our Leviticus on.
For one of the last times ever, actually.
I know. Only 2 more episodes left, ladies and
Almost
gentlemen.
done with Leviticus.
I want to thank everyone for joining us out there on the inner tubes. I don't know how they get it through there. That is amazing. I think you have to pump. That's my advice
Something
for a lot.
that. You're used to pumping. Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. If you're feeling fancy, don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe, and set that
That would
bell
help.
icon dong, 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 to all so you can get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams.
Yep.
And with that, we're going to hand it over to Gilbert so he can explain what we're about to read.
Some of you may be new to this abomination of a study. These schmucks begin by reading each episode's chapters along with the annotations on the side for funsies. The hosts are a tiny bit special, so don't mind if they butcher or replace everybody's name with something completely horrible or stupid. However, the gibberish that spews forth from their face holes will still be an attempt at reading this book from cover to cover, which I'm sure has tons of wisdom or an insight on whether we can or cannot put things up our butt. If you have time to waste screaming internet memes at random strangers, then join the Discord. Or scream at them personally at your YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch streams. Finally, don't forget to support these idiots doing more lame shenanigans at Amy Newman's Patreon page. All right, schmucks, back to you.
Thank Gilbert.
Thanks, Gilbert. That's right. You can find our Patreon page at patreon.com/Amy Newman, which helps us make even more content, including awesome Patreons like both Fat Thor and Cute Thor in one, though some would call Fat Thor Cute Thor as well. But KO Jam.
There you go.
But also Eyes from the Atheist Round Table and Networking Group.
The network thing.
And also Better. Coming soon, October, the event. I think I'm going to try and head out there. I'm excited, but you all should check it out. Tickets on sale soon. All right, but also Ian Davenport.
Ian.
Thank you so very much,
Thanks,
Ian.
Ian.
Definitely hard to scale. But also, we fight here with the YouTube censors, the FBI, NASA, the NSA. I think it's we're actually NASA shills, but also a grumpy old.
You never know when one of them Christians is going to come in here and say something totally inappropriate that they'll have to censor out. Yeah,
that's true. I think that's what it is. That must be what it is. It's those damn pesky fundamentalists who don't want us to curse. Because all right, yeah. a grumpy old.
There you go.
Damn it. Aren't you grumpy? But also,
thank you, grumpy.
3 princesses in 1. It's the Trinity. Diana Smith.
The unholy Trinity.
Generally, yes, except with a glass slipper that fits, and shoes that fit are, that's a bigger plus than being nailed somewhere. Though getting nailed, that for me.
Hashtag empty too.
Hashtag empty. Uh-oh. I just want to know where a body disappearing is not evidence of someone ascending to heaven and becoming. What exactly does he do there? He reigns supreme or something like that.
Supreme leader of the world, like Kim Jong-un for the entire planet.
The joke I normally say, it's like the celestial North Korea. That's not it. I forget who first said that. Is that Hitchens? I think that's Hitchens.
I believe so.
It rings true.
But Amy, he had holes in his hands. You could even stick something through those holes.
And let me tell you, we just went over the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Check that out. And yeah, I understand. Once again, we were saying, not a good way to die. Definitely not what I want to do on the weekend. Don't advise it on a Yelp. That being said, we've seen horror movies in the past 20, 30 years that have done.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen anything by Jordan Peele? We know how to torture human beings.
Absolutely.
My common example is just ISIS can flip children up. They flipped children upside down and crucified them. I mean,
they do. But Amy, they gave him sour wine and he had a crown of thorns on his head. Oh.
Crown of thorns. Yeah, I'm just saying, once again, I would not want the accessories of thorns pushing into my noggin.
Because those Roman soldiers were so theatrical, They couldn't help themselves.
But also, other people died that way. Other people, it was a common technique of dying. Once again, horrible, brutal, definitely doesn't get, I would say, the humanist seal of approval. That is the exact type of thing we're trying to fight against. That is also what makes me, just from an outsider's perspective, the whole wearing it around your neck, always a little weird to me. I understand they have reinterpreted it to be beautiful. Don't you get it? We're wearing the torture device around our neck, which symbolizes the sacrifice that he made for us.
He loves you, Amy. He loves you.
I guess so. There's not blood dripping from it, so I guess, they cleaned it up a little for you, so. Whew. But anyway, moving right along, but also looking back in time and sending love to Pat Lowinger. Woohoo, Pat! And we just aired the first episode of Talk Skeptic to Me, which was fantastic, and you should go check out at episode 2. So we did the flood myths of the Mesopotamian. Pat will have to remind me, but we already have episode 2 planned out. And so, coming soon. Also, that's what she said. Also, all of the skeptics assembled. Kind of like, I want to actually say Marvel's Avengers. It's the Skeptic Avengers.
Maybe like Captain Planet.
Captain Planet. Wait, they should probably do a new version of him. I haven't seen a new Captain Planet in forever, though they ruin everything. But what can I say?
Captain Smokey.
But thank you so much, Dale Pastel.
Thank you, Dale. Captain Smokey.
But also,
he's an asshole.
You know what's funny, James? We've been talking about how thick that Earth is. Sending so much love to Dave Gar.
Thank you, Dave Gar. Woo.
Thank you so much, Dave Gar. You know what would be funny, James? We just might have to dig down and see if there's a core of the Earth in there. It's just, you ever think about that? Have you ever thought about that? I would never think of anybody who thought about that.
Maybe the core is filled with dildos.
It is. Exactly. Honestly, I feel like you only get pictures of the core of the Earth if you sign up at the commander level or the girl dick level. I think that's the only way. One of the only ways, yeah. I can't think of anything else. I mean, it wouldn't make sense, if it was maybe like the most dense material in the center because of gravity, which would be metal, and then branching out from that, you would have things that are less dense until you get to maybe like the atmosphere, which is totally less dense. So, yeah. Gravity, atmosphere.
Yeah. Gravity, yeah. Sounds really sciencey. It's really hard.
Sounds really science. You probably read that in a book, James. In a book. And you know what would be silly is reading things in a book and just believing them. That would be really silly.
Well,
you shouldn't just do that.
If the book says there's a cosmic snake around the Earth, then I guess there's a cosmic snake, right? I mean, I don't know.
Exactly. Unless that snake is dead and somehow on the Earth. Anyway, 2 versions, just like there's 2 Genesises. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. But also the lead hyena of the pack. I think we're out for blood tonight, James. Absolutely. Yeah, but we don't want to beat our slaves. That would be terrible. Don't beat your slaves, James. Are they slaves or are they just employees? Very important distinction there. A very important distinction. They're like employees, except they don't get money. But besides that,
can they quit? They can't quit, can they?
About that, they actually have a contract that they signed by being born, and it's complicated and biblical. You know what? The context, James. Don't worry about you're worrying about the context. Think of it more of like an internship forever.
Okay, I guess.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Scott Duke.
Thank you, Scott. But hey, I mean, if your master beats you with a rod and you die right then and there, then he gets in trouble. But if a day or so later you die, it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. Exactly. Come on. Thou shalt walk it off. You know that commandment.
There you go. If you die a day later, that's on you.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, Regos, our thespian scholars. We read through the Bible. Thank you so much, Regos. Thy sending love to all of our Patreons. You are what make this content possible. Along with our viewers and everyone out there watching, and during live streams, we try to greet everyone on screen. However, if you want your specific thoughts read out loud or shown on stream, then feel free to tag me in chat at Amy Newman. If this is your first time to the series, you may be wondering, what are those icons on the screen? Oh, well, those are our categories.
Categories, you say?
Before we begin, I'm going to start by going over the specific Bible we'll be reading, along with some helpful category marks. Categories, you say? Why, yes I do. You see, we're going to be reading from the Skeptic's Annotated Bible, an entire King James Bible lovingly fawned over by a skeptic who decided he would add his own notations. These are little flagpoles of sanity put in use to remind us that, hey, maybe slavery is evil, including categories like absurdity, injustice, and cruelty, but also a good amount of intolerance, contradictions, and conflicts with science or history. That doesn't mean it's not packed full of misogyny, false prophecy, and some questionable biblical family values. Now, we won't skip the good parts that the Bible has, only that these passages seem far fewer in number than any priest or pastor seems to suggest. So without further ado, won't you come join the Skeptic crew? Woohoo!
Andrew!
With that, da 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 da. Welcome everyone to our Skeptic Bible Study. On the previous episode, a feast of cake, God talked about what kind of feast he likes. Then finished off with the dessert menu. In this episode, a year of celebration, God tells us which year is the Sabbath, very important, before he goes on a long rant about a jubilee year.
Celebrate good times, come on.
Celebrate good times.
Yeah.
So with that, how are you tonight, James? And are you ready to get your Leviticus on?
Been waiting for it all day, so yeah, I am totally ready for it. And I am so stoked that we are almost through with Leviticus. We'll hate to leave it when we're done, but it's been a lot of fun.
It has been. This will probably be the second to last episode before we are done. Book 3 of the Bible. We're putting Leviticus on the shelf, but it's been chock full of wisdom.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Chock full of reasons to kill people and lots of sacrifices and offerings and lots of death sentences. He who blasphemes the Lord shall be put to death.
Oh, that's not good. You know, that's funny about that, James. You know, Mexico is actually looking kind of good right now. And, and this brings us to tonight's chapters. The book of Leviticus. Woohoo! Chapter 25, the Sabbath year. And just a nice appetizer to start with. We're keeping it light with some fun. Guys, it's the Bible. You got to remember to laugh. And all right, the Sabbath year. And the Lord Bob said it, didn't spray it, onto Charlton Heston. Here we go, Charlie. Charlie has been surviving the odds. A lot of people die in this book. Like, if this was a horror story, he has been lasted. Go you, Charlie, into Mount Seir, saying, speak unto the children of Israel Shmishmael, and say unto them, when ye come into the land. Woo, baby. Yeah, we're waiting for the when, not if. When ye, we're getting Shakespearean, when ye come. It's not just when ye come into the land,
She'll
which
be
I give
coming
you.
around the mountain when she comes.
I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath, because that's so important, unto the Lord Bob. 6 flags years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 flags years thou shalt prune them. Oh my God, it's been the TVA the whole time. Thy vineyard. Oh, well, at least it's getting better. And gather in the fruit. I just like it when we talk about fruit. Definitely first fruits thereof. So what did they say? God said to Moses, say this to the Israelites. When you come into the land that I give you, keep a Sabbath to me. Okay, keeping things holy for Lord Bob. But in the 7th year, lucky 7, shall be a Sabbath of rest. We're going to take a snooze right onto the land. A Sabbath, by the way, for me, the Lord Bob. Who else are you going to take it for? Thou shalt neither sow thy land, nor prune thy timeline from thy vineyard. That which groweth, you can smoketh. Of its own accord of thy harvest, thou shalt not reap another soul, neither gather the grapes of thy vine undressed. For it is a year of rest unto the land. Look, I tell you to snooze, you better fucking snooze. And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat. For you. I definitely like a good round of meat. For thee and for thy... Wow, what's that word? That's funny. James, I may need help saying this word. What does that word say?
Sealant? Servant? Servant, yeah.
Seal it. Oh, wow. Servant. Servant. There's servants in the Bible? What? They wouldn't endorse. And for thy maid. Oh, they're probably doing a role play. That makes... Okay.
I would like to have a
I'm not
role
going to
play.
kink shame. Yeah, I'm not going to kink shame. I'm sure they don't mean owning people as property. And for thy hired servant. Oh, that's weird. There's a hired servant and a servant? Wait, that's weird. Why would this one be hired and this one just be a servant? James, there's a cognitive...
You have to take it in context, Amy. You can't just read it. You can't just read it and see what it says and think that's what it means. You have to take it into context. You can't cherry pick the Bible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly. For a second, I forgot about the context. Thank you. And for thy stranger danger that sojourneth with thee, and for thy cattle, oh boy, and thy hamburgers, and for thy beasts that are in thy land, shall all they increase there be meat. What the hell did they just say? Every 7th year is a Sabbath year, during which no crops may be planted or harvested. Wow, that's going to
give the land a break, I guess, yeah.
Give that land.
He's worried about the land.
Learning about the land. Look, every once in a while you got to kill everybody. Every once in a while you got to worry about the land. But it's okay. I hope you enjoyed your appetizer, because holy moly, we are running into the main meal of tonight, the Jubilee year. Woohoo! And I hope you have your bib ready, because get a napkin out, because we're starting with laughter, and you got to remember to laugh. Oh yes, get your napkin ready. We're starting with laughter, but not just laughter. A rarity, but we love it here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't tell us that we are not fair to the Bible, there may actually be good stuff. There may be something good. Oh, man, I think we should just stop there, right? Right
Hey,
there.
once in a while, a broken clock is still right twice a day, right?
Exactly. And we're going to say that clock, but moving along into our trifecta, we're bringing up politics today. Bernie's saying, uh-oh, politics in the Bible. I'm sure this will go
The
over
top
well.
1%.
And that's weird. There's a third and a fifth category.
The injustice.
Yeah, I see injustice. Always a good one.
Injustice, family values.
Whoa, wait. Oh
violence.
My God. James, what? This might be the first time we've ever done this segment. There might be a contradiction in the Bible. What the?
Where?
That can't be. I know. They're gonna have to prove that. But like we were saying, injustice too. Who doesn't like?
I mean, if there were contradictions, then you could have thousands and thousands of sects pop up because they're each one is just looking at a certain set of verses, and the others are looking at another set. You would have like chaos. You would have anarchy if it contradicted itself.
James, that would never happen. How dare you? The notion that people would disagree about canon in the Bible.
I mean, that'd be like if you had verses that said man is justified by faith alone and then not by faith alone in the same Bible. That would be really confusing. That would lead a lot of people.
But about that, moving right. But also, oh, they're so cute. The Bible's talking about more of their biblical family values. I'm sure it'll go over well. You got to keep it in the family, James. Yeah, more kids to drown. Oh, in fact, I'm glad that you brought that up because, there's really only two subjects that sell. And, people like the sex, but people also like the violence, okay? And what would be the Bible without a good stabba? A good stabba.
It just wouldn't be the Bible unless somebody's getting killed.
But also, oh my goddess. Our little it's our intolerant
looks like he's in a bad mood.
He's in a bad mood.
Yeah.
It's okay, intolerant. All he needs to do is meet other octopi or whatever that he is prejudiced against, and it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, octopi. Or the people with the Bible probably prejudices again. We need good in-groups and out-groups. Who doesn't love it, baby? But also our final category. Once again, we were talking about sex and just... wow. Oh, whoa. Are you...
There is no doubt.
I agree. There we go. In fact, there seems to be many interpretations of this chapter. And in fact, we are reading a version of the King James Bible. But like James was saying, there's no way that people could disagree on what the Bible says. That's ridiculous.
It's one book.
One book. How could there be? And with that, we are reading Leviticus chapter 25, the Jubilee year.
And don't forget, not only do we have the book, but Christians also have the Holy Spirit sent by God to guide them and to teach them. So they have the Bible, but then the Holy Spirit in the unseen realm will make sure that they understand it and get it right. He won't lead them astray. He's going to make sure they understand what's really going on.
Exactly. The Holy Spirit won't lead you astray. Would I lie to you, baby? No way. I'm the Holy Spirit. And thou shalt lucky number 7 Sabbaths of years unto thee, specifically thee. Lucky 7 times in 7 years, and the space of 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 40 and 9 years. They should have said the word 7 one more time in there. Then shall thou cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. I think that's because it's my birthday. In the day of atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. What if our trumpet sound could only fill up half the land? Get another guy.
Too bad.
Too bad. And ye shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout all the land. Hello, I am proclaiming liberty throughout all the land. Sir, this is Wendy's. Unto all the inhabitants thereof, it shall be a jubilee unto you. You specifically. Congratulations, you deserve a jubilee. And ye shall return every man unto his possession. Okie dokie. And ye shall return every man unto his family. Are they letting everyone go? Yay!
Yeah.
Proclaim
Don't you
liberty.
see? Yeah, why
Yay.
biblical slavery is so much nicer because
There you
after
go.
50 years you get you're free. So, I mean, what are the odds you'll live that
Ooh.
long? Probably not very good. But hey, if you make it that long,
We've done it, everyone. We've found it can't go wrong from here. A jubilee shall the 50th year be unto you, and ye shall not sow that seed, no, neither reap that which groweth of itself in thee, nor gather the grapes and make it into fermented wine into thy vine undressed. For once again it is a jubilee. It shall be holy unto you. Ye
so
shall...
holy. So
So
holy.
How holy is it? So holy.
As holy as John Maddox.
Ye shall eat the increase thereout of the field. Just go out in the field and eat it, baby. In the year of the Jubilee, ye shall return every man unto his possession. And if thou sell outright unto thy neighbor, or buyest out of thy neighbor's hand, right out of my hand, do it to my hand. Ye shall not oppress one another. We should just that one paragraph. Oh, we should just isolate that. We could just throw out, like with Genesis, we could throw out what is the first one? First 2 books.
Exodus.
The first 2
Genesis,
books, Exodus and Genesis. Yeah. We could throw out both of those books and just have one paragraph and just say, look, it says according to the number of years after Jubilee, thou shalt buy of thy neighbor, and according unto the years of the fruits, he shall sell. We got to sell fruits, baby. I love a good market. Unless the other kind of fruits, which I also kind of like partaking in too. Oh my. Shall unto thee, according to the multitude of years that thou shalt increase, and that price go up, the price go down thereof. And according to the
tide goes out.
Tide goes in, tide goes out. Fewness of years, thou shalt diminish the price of it. For according to the number of the years of the first fruits, doubt he shall sell unto thee. So what did that all say? Don't grow or harvest any crops during the Jubilee year. Oh, okay.
What about eating? Do we just not eat that year? I guess maybe take a year off.
Oh, eating is for quitters. All right. Ye shall. We have so once again we love our skull friend. Hello, skull friend. Ye shall therefore take that sword, and you're not gonna oppress one another. Stop it. Just stop harming each other. But thou shalt fear thy God. That fear thy goddess. And once again, I've always had a problem with the concept of fearing a god or goddess. Like, that generally is the trait of a supervillain. I am not going to say that makes God a supervillain,
Yeah.
but is
You
one
need
of the
to hear
traits.
the Ken Hovind video about fear from his famous presentation on Leviathan, the
Excuse me.
dragon, the fire-breathing dragon, which he believes it literally breathed real fire. That it's that fire-breathing dragons are real. Yeah.
So, like, they're not doing like the dinosaur apologetic. They actually think that there
Well,
are
he's
fire-breathing
maybe a
dragons.
dinosaur, but you know,
Oh, okay.
maybe it was
the
a
dinosaur
brontosaurus or something like that, but it breathed fire. Yeah.
Science is so cool. Why do we need to add on things? The fact that dinosaurs existed, I don't understand why you need to add on. Just like
The Bible
why
mentions Leviathan, so therefore, yeah, it must have been real.
must have been real. Just like I don't know why giants would need to be real. Also, why would an angel? That's the other thing. Why would an angel be necessarily larger and then create are angels? I thought always in my head angels were just like humans that had wings and stuff. They weren't like larger. I feel like if an angel and a human had a baby that was a giant, they would both go like,
Huh?
Is that what's supposed to? Is it from your side? My side? I thought he was gonna have wings.
Imagine the poor girl trying to push that baby out. I mean,
I know.
that would be some logistical problems if the baby is like 3 or 4 times the size of a regular human baby. That's not going to end well for her.
Yeah, I feel like the angel would have to be 3. Who's bigger in this equation? Did it come out of a mother that was human size, and therefore it's some miracle that Ra meant to just all the women that give birth in general, but you're gonna tell me a giant came out of dude. But I just once again, I don't think logistics are the strong suit for. I don't even want to say fundamentalist. Even the fundamentalists are like, come on, don't put us in with Snake, dude. He's saying he loves his Jeebus. Just saying. Okay, moving right along. We didn't oppress people. We had fruits. Fear me. I said fear. I did my whole tangent about fear. Okay, fear thy God, for I am the Lord Bob, your goddess. Wherefore, ye shall do my statues from Doctor Who. Oh my God! Don't blink, and keep my judgments, and do them from a paladin class, and ye shall
we're so
dwell.
gonna keep those judgments.
We're
Every
gonna
damn
keep
one of them.
Honestly, I feel like there would never be a part 2 that would erase the vast majority of what we're going to be talking about.
Never gonna give
today.
you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and hurt your judgments.
He would never disappoint us. And ye shall dwell in the land of safety, because it has Geico insurance. And the land shall yield her fruit, specifically her fruit. And ye shall eat your fill. That sounds naughty. It just sounds naughty. And dwell therein in safety.
But not a fig. Can't be a fig.
Not a fig.
You can't eat your fill on that.
No, just eat her fruit. And if ye shall, hey, sometimes you got to eat fruits. Sometimes you got to go down her fruit. We cover both genders in this podcast.
Sometimes
for equal opportunity.
Amy's got to shove an orange up her ass.
Whew. Look, I'm trying to remember. the common phrase that a wise philosopher once said, which was, anything's a dildo if you're brave enough. All right. And if ye shall say, what shall we eat the lucky 7th year? Well, behold, jazz hands, we shall not sow. Uh-oh. It's okay, Charlie. He almost fell. We shall not sow nor gather in our increase. We're not going to be leveling up. Then I will command my blessing, pew, 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 upon you in the Six Flags year. And
Bless
it
me.
shall, bless me, baby, and it shall bring forth for 3, because rule of 3 years. And ye shall sow the 8th year. Oh my goddess. Like, dude, micro, man. Where is this dude now? Like, look at this. He is writing a wish list. Like, highly specific details.
He could,
First-person story. One-on-one. Just him and
micromanaging
Moses.
every little thing. He could write a 20-page manual on how to piss.
Exactly. And call it holy. The holy pissing. And for whatever reason, he seems to have disappeared. And getting like this type of conversation, we would be fedora atheists. Oh, tip your fedora. You want physical evidence of a God? That's the wrong tool, James. You're using the wrong tool.
Oh, right.
I mean, he looks pretty physical right frickin' here. This conversation, is this not physical?
What do we have to use? We have to use, what's that word, Amy? That a faith? Is it faith?
Faith, that's right. Just gotta use the word.
You just arbitrarily choose to believe something without evidence. You're just making that choice, and there you go.
Arbitrarily, exactly. So once again, we're fist fruiting until her fruits come. At least you're letting her go. Hopefully you let her go first. The land shall not be sold forever. Yeah, I'm sure that one came through.
Amy, have you seen my apple? I had an apple laying around here, and I can't find it.
Uh-oh.
Did you see where that apple went, Amy?
I didn't. Uh-oh. Oh, wait. I might have eaten one of your apples. Might have been. Well, I might.
At least you didn't put it in the other way.
Probably ate all of your apples. Well, about that, I was trying to imitate a Thanksgiving pig, as some people have Thanksgiving pigs for some reason. A Christmas pig. There we go. Moving right along. Look, we are talking the real issues here tonight, but this is such a funny. The land shall never be sold forever, and as you know, James, if you look back through time, the land and borders have basically been the same for as long as we can remember.
Pretty much, for the most part.
Pretty much, yeah. Never. For the land is mine. Whoa, what? Yo, he's taking a land grab.
It's not this land is your. It's just this land is my land. That land is my
James,
land.
That
land is my land.
We were having such a fun time proclaiming liberty and eating fruits and going down on her. And all of a sudden, we're about to, it looks like, go right into the stranger's land and be like, that's kind of funny. Wouldn't it be funny if it was No. God would never claim land for people, and then it would never be the different gods both claim it, and then everybody goes to war.
War is fun, right? It's fun. God loves it.
Exactly.
You can't get enough war.
And in all the land of your possession, ye shall grant a redemption for the land.
Oh,
okay. Did it need a redemption?
Apparently,
what did the land do?
Bring
in the land.
I don't know.
If
I don't
thy
know. What did the
brother,
babies do before the flood? But the Bible says they were all
James,
they were all thinking they were all evil. They had nothing but evil in their hearts.
exactly. They
So
were
baby
evil
sitting in its
babies.
crib was thinking evil, even though it wasn't able to really think much of anything, but still, it was evil.
Exactly. They were all supervillain babies,
Yeah.
according to the Bible.
Like
It's
little
definitely-
Hitlers everywhere. That's what they all
It's-
were. Yeah.
Definitely not that God just drowned everyone because he just didn't like them.
I mean, hey, you wake up on a Thursday. What am I going to do today? Oh, let's flood the world today. Doesn't that sound like fun?
James, all this QQ, I made a promise not to drown them again. Okay? Okay? All this
Not all of them.
complaining.
I mean,
Not all of them, anyway.
we did have that one drown on Ken Hovind's property, but
Well, that happens. Hey, hey.
Kids
We
swimming
just
in the
like
lake.
to celebrate all taxivists, okay? All taxivists on here.
Kids swimming in the lake without adult supervision. Don't worry, Jesus is the lifeguard.
What?
Jesus will
Exactly.
monitor it. Jesus will make sure that nothing bad happens. So that's all you need. When you
Let
got Jesus, what else do you need?
Take the wheel and pay our taxes. It'll
Jesus,
happen.
the new Baywatch series with Jesus as
Well, that's exactly what I wanted. Is I want to see Jesus with big tits. All right, and moving along. If thy brother be wax off, wax on poor, it's just funny. I don't even want to make fun of that. This is a funny combination of words. If thy brother be waxen poor, and have sold away some of his possession, some of it, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, it will be redeemed. Then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, you should say the word redeem again. Then let him count the years of the sale thereof. Ooh, there's a sale? And restore the overplus. Always good to sell overplus. Onto the man to whom he sold it, and he may return it onto his possession. But, but, I like a big but. But if he be not able to restore it to him, then that which is sold, once again, I am God, just having a long conversation with someone, is sold shall remain in the hand of him that hath brought it unto the year of Jubilee. And in the Jubilee, it shall go out. Go out, baby. Go out. Be yourself. And he shall return unto his possession, or at least, if that's what they're calling it these days, just wash your possession. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, oh, come on, man. How specific do you gotta get? That he may then he may redeem it within
only in a
one
walled
whole
city,
year.
yeah.
That's funny. I like this because it's like it has a warranty. Like, this is God setting up a warranty. What the hell is going on? And if a man sell a dwelling house in the walled city, then he may redeem it within one whole year. 2 years if he pays extra. After it is sold, within a full year, may he redeem it. And if
I think the Pawn Stars would be going crazy with terms like this. This is like,
all right. So, it looks like ancient antiquity probably has
Is it
been
redeemable?
around for thousands of years. One of a kind. I'll give you 750.
sure.
Woohoo!
It makes a nice butt plug.
Once
There you
again, so does anything if you're brave enough. Oh, that joke is older than I am, but I will make it every time I can. Where were we
You
going?
can redeem it every time
I
it needs
can
to be
receive
redeemed.
it. Yes.
Are you redeemed,
Every
Amy?
time.
Can I redeem
I
you?
am only if I wear my curious girdle. But yes,
I mean, don't you have it on all the time? That's like a permanent
I do. I
thing.
try to wear it as
You open
much
up your
as I
closet, you
can.
probably have like 20 of them in there.
I do, and
all looking
each
the
one
same.
is more
Like Ken
curious
Hovind's
than the
Hawaiian
next.
shirts. Like Ken Hovind's Hawaiian shirts in his closet. You open up there, it's just
Yo, what
bunch
is
of
with
Hawaiian
that?
shirts.
It is so funny. That's all he does wear is Hawaiian shirts.
That's his like uniform.
I guess that's his thing. That's his shtick. Everyone's
no taxes and Hawaiian shirts.
I'll say I'll do a spoiler-free Falcon, as Falcon would say. Everyone's got a shtick.
Oh, Amy, you're not going to believe this really quickly since we came up to Hovind. Later in the month, Ken Hovind is debating somebody on Standing for Truth. He's debating Smokey on the Age of the Earth.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Smokey being the
Are you really gonna make me agree with Smokey? I think you.
Earth, Kent, of course, being the.
Well, I've always wanted to be on.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Kent
Either
for
you
the
or I
flat Earth.
lagged a little bit. Say that one more time.
Yeah, for the flat Earth, you've always wanted to team up with Kent.
Yes.
Because that's like the only thing. The only thing he uses real legitimate science to do, because everything else he uses crazy bullshit science. But
well, in the sequel to a lot of movies, after the villain has been defeated, there tends to be a bigger bad behind there, and I just have to lift Kent up and be like, "It's okay, Kent. The world is round. We can defend it. This is your chance, Kent. I believe in you. You can use science. So I've been teaching it for 15 years. And I've been drinking a lot of water to get me there. And we'll get there and we'll teach them how
I went to a
church
church and I lied to kids. Evolution says you came from a rock. Yes, that is what evolution teaches.
James, give me 30 minutes with just your class. Give me 30 minutes with them, and I'll tell them what real science is. We'll tell them the evolution lie.
I mean,
we'll clear it up.
I mean, Amy, you're taking like 20 minutes to get ready in the morning. I can shower, shave, and brush my teeth in under 3 minutes. Hurry up, Amy. Why are you doing everything so slow?
Sorry.
You have to imagine his poor kids growing up like they've been in the shower for like 3 minutes and there's dad pounding on the door. Hurry the fuck up! I'm paying that water bill. It's been 3 minutes. What the hell are you doing in there? Yeah.
Exactly. And
probably has a timer on the water, so it shuts off after like 2.5 minutes. So you better have all the shampoo and soap rinsed off, or you're screwed.
And all right, we're getting micromanaging to the 9th degree, to the absolute 9th degree. Where were we? Whole year it is sold and redeemed within the space of a year.
31, I think.
31. But the houses of the village people, which have no wall round about them. Oh man, no walls or roundabouts. Actually sounds kind of nice. Them shall be counted as the fields of the country. They may be redeemed.
As the field of dreams.
The field of dreams. And they shall go out in a jubilee. We like jubilees. Notwithstanding the cities of the Levites and the houses, what is the shoe company? There's Nike, then there's another. What are trying to remember?
Adidas,
Reebok, not Reebok, Adidas. There's one I'm trying to remember. It starts with an L. And the houses of the cities of their possessions may be leave us out, please, redeemed at any time. And if a man purchases of the leave us out of this man, then the house I couldn't agree more, and I couldn't say something so daring and so brave. I can't help.
Yeah.
House that was sold, and the city of his possession shall go out in the year. What year? Of the Jubilee. Exactly. For the houses, the Jubilee of the cities of the leave us out of this man are their possession among the children of Israel, Shmishmael.
Chug it down, Amy. Chug it down.
Woo-hoo. Brought to you by Salty Water and their possession among the children of Israel, Shmishmael. But in the some senses are just funny. But in the suburbs, wow, are we really going straight Will Smith? We're doing a sitcom in West Philadelphia. But in the field of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold. I will say I do have an affinity for anything Philly, so that show just has a special place in my heart.
What show?
What's it called? With Will Smith.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Fantastic show.
It was a good show.
I'm biased. I swear.
90s nostalgia.
The reason why I love Bill Burr so much is because he roasted Philadelphia for about 15 minutes, which you should all Google if you have not seen it. Fantastic. Philadelphia, the only place where we will boo you if we like you. And okay, we're buying things of the Levites. But the fields of the suburbs, for whatever reason. But if thy brother be wax on, wax off poor, fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Oh, again, Games of Thrones. Yeah. I just
relieve
like
himself.
Yeah.
I am not going to relieve him.
Hey, sometimes you got to relieve him. Though he be a stranger danger or a sojourn, that he may live with thee. Take thou no usury of him, or increase the temperature, but fear thy goddess, because that's a totally normal thing, that thy brother may live with thee. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, bling bling y'all, nor lend them thy victuals, Vicky stands for the increase. I am the Lord Bob, your goddess, which, oh boy, we get it, Dad. You say it every time.
And this series of verses here actually caused a ton of problems over the years and actually had a lot to do with the politics of Europe for centuries, especially in relation to the Jewish people, because so it says in here that they couldn't charge usury or interest to fellow Jews, but they can charge it to foreigners. But in Christian Europe,
some more chosen people shit.
Yeah, in Christian Europe, the Roman Catholic Church applied that no Christian could charge another Christian interest in the same thread with this. So therefore, a lot of times,
of course,
it was hard to get money loaned. Credit was kind of tight because there's no interest. So they would end up borrowing money from the Jews, which made the Jews, kind of a target because the governments owed them money, and maybe they don't want to pay the money back. Maybe we don't have the money to pay back. There you go.
It just bothers me on a fundamental level how And I preface this, we're able to get over it, okay? This is a trait, just like jealousy, that prejudice happens in humans. It happens in animals, and we are animals. This need to try and in-group and out-group each other. We do it in 1,000 different ways, and it's horrible. We can fight that urge to want to separate
Tribalism.
us.
Yeah.
I hate the notion of the word goy. I hate it. I hate it. I've only heard it like used in my family once or twice ever. Very rarely. And I like it that way because I really hate the entire notion. Just the entire notion. If any God tells you that he's chosen you, run. Just run. Know that he is the bad guy of this story. That's how it ends. That's how it always ends. Oh, I've seen this Marvel comic.
It doesn't end well. I mean, God keeps doing it over and over again throughout the Bible, and never really seems to work out for him. Everybody he picks to be his main guy ends up disappointing him somehow.
Not another trait of a villain. Like, am I the crazy one here? But he keeps on getting foiled by the humans. Like, is that...
Like, yeah.
Whatever, Big G man. I'm sure you'll,
like Wile E. Coyote
win this time.
Always something there is always ready to go wrong.
His plan, though, he's got that plan. The plan can't be fucked up. Now, someone once, or maybe this has just been on my mind. Why, if he has a plan, why would you pray? Wouldn't that? I think that maybe this is a George Carlin bit. I just don't get. Wouldn't that screw his plan? Whatever. That's probably not biblical. I mean, probably just
God's going to do his will no matter what. So, I mean, he's not going to change the course of history just because you asked for something.
For you, yeah. But they pray anyway, don't they ever? And if thy brother be dwelleth, am I in 39:40? I think waxing off. And I'm going to go 39. And if thy brother that dwelleth in a decent complex, by thy, if he waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant. Well, okay. But I'm sure it can't get any worse, right? But as an hired servant, and as a hired servant, that's interesting. So there are servants and hired servants. Oh, and as a sojourner, he shall be with thee. Oh, yeah, baby. And he shall serve thee unto the year of jubilee. It's the word of the night.
And then thou shalt get thine anus waxed, if thine anus waxed poor.
Once again, all-knowing, all-powerful, creator of the universe, micromanaging. And then
he's got her own line of anal waxing strips.
Do I ever, baby?
They wax.
You just gotta flip yourself upside down and go away. Wow. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and he shall return unto his family, unto the possessions that he got at the yard sale of his fathers shall he return. For they are my, what is that? My servants. And I know they're probably saying this is metaphorical, but yeah. Which I don't like that notion either. I don't like it when, I don't appreciate, I understand that the Muslims reinterpret submission to mean a beautiful thing. I don't like the notion of submitting to gods. It just feels very Thanos-y.
Then you have to fear him, because if you do something he doesn't like, he's going to do bad things to you.
I just don't understand the notion. I understand wanting to have, I don't actually understand wanting to have a personal relationship with a god. I feel like if a god wants to have a personal relationship with me, take me out to coffee, like, I don't know, a movie, start slow. I don't I don't know why.
About that cross thing.
About that cross. I know. It's such a weird thing. And I understand, like, but the majority, well, a lot of Western society, they just take it for granted. The Jeebus thing has always just been strange to me. I do not understand why killing a guy would literally, because I guess if you believe in scapegoat magic, then sure, but no, scapegoats aren't real, so I don't get that. I don't understand why it has to be a son. That seems very sitcom-y. Like, hi, Dad. There's like the talking voice in the sky, and he's just like, oh, don't mind him. He's so silly. Okay, he has
Jesus
to have
is like,
a son.
okay, me, God the Father, whatever, because I'm the Son and I'm also the Father, but whatever. Dying on a cross is the best thing you can come up with to forgive humans. Really, that's your big plan. Me getting on that cross and dying.
There's me and me and me. It's the new sitcom, me, and me. The Trinity. It makes sense. Oh, man. I know. And they will say, well, okay, we could make it fit within our little canon thing. And it's like, yes, if you're Lord of the Rings logic and even my favorite Loki logic, it fits, the Marvel and everything, it fits as long as you stay within that universe. But as soon as you have to be like, can we test this in the real world? Then things break down.
Yeah, it's like listening to a technical manual for Star Wars and how their ship ran, and then that only works in the movies or in there. That's not actually applicable to the real world. I hate to say it. Yeah,
exactly. It does not translate. Shout out to the SCP community, which makes you go a little bit insane if you travel down their halls. But they would also not claim it's real, or would they? No. And okay. So yeah, we got to go into the land. Dad's taking us out of the land. He always brings it up. You remember when the time brought? But Dad, you got us into
that time you were sleeping. Yeah, I got your ass out of it though.
Slaves. For they are my servants, because that's a healthy relationship, which I brought forth out of the land of New York. They shall not be sold as bondmen. Yeah, only those guys.
James Bond.
Yeah, James Bond band.
Bonded.
Both. Once again, don't kink shame the DNS community. Fine with that. It's the actually owning, because those could be healthy relationships. Actually owning people as property in which you work them in fields and then don't pay them money. Evil. You are the supervillain. Once again. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor. Okay. Can we rule over him without rigor? But shall fear thy goddess. Once again, healthy relationship. Both thy bondmen, slavery, and thy bondsmen, which thou shalt have.
The bail bondsmen.
Yo, we were just talking about freedom and liberty. Where did the freedom and liberty go? Oh, wait, both.
I guess we're probably just taking this way out of context, and it doesn't mean buy them and their property. It just means like hiring them as a worker.
Exactly, a worker. Fun times forever.
They didn't know how to differentiate the terms back then. They were primitive. They didn't really make that distinction.
James, the goat herding. We can't. Both thy bondmen and thy bondsmaids, which thou shalt have, slavery, shall be of the heathen. Oh, nice. That are round about you. Oh, I need to do that uninterrupted. Of them shall ye be bondmen and bondsmaids. Let me read that one more time in case people might have gotten confused. Both thy bondmen and thy bondsmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall you buy bondmen and bondsmaids.
I mean, we're probably just interpreting it the lazy way. We're not, yeah.
Exactly. You
Just reading what it says, and yeah.
You silly heathens reading that you can be bought as property. Uh-oh. Whew. Watch out, everybody. But we don't follow that. This is the Old Testament. That's the Old Testament. James, Amy, that's the Old Testament. We don't follow that anymore. Well, what about the Ten Commandments? Well, that's the Ten Commandments. Hey, look at these 10 commandments. Only 2 of them are good. Well, we're actually just supposed to be for the whole.
But
10.
Amy.
Yeah, and so and so.
Yeah, there you go, Ryder.
I agree, Ryder. No, he has a good point, actually. I wouldn't take that bullshit either. Moreover, of the children of the stranger dangers that sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy. What? You're more buying?
It should probably mean
hire.
hire. Hire, not buy. You
hire
them,
the children.
Hire them.
Right, exactly. James, we just need to do a page 1 rewrite. That's it. We just need to edit the Bible. That's all. And it'll be fine.
Yeah, just fix it.
Just fix it. Get a good old eraser. We can do that. You can do that, right?
Who's going to stop us?
Who's going to stop us? That do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families. Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to hire one, you might as well hire the whole family, right?
You might as well get the family meal. That are with you, which they begat in your land. Oh, they're begatting in our land. And wow, that's interesting. James, can you help me with that one just little last part of the sentence? That's weird. I'm having a hard time reading it.
They'll be your employees. Is it employees?
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
It says possession, right? But is that really what that word means?
Does it say a 401k pension? No, nothing.
I mean, I guess if you get a job at Wendy's, you become kind of their possession in a way. I don't know.
Exactly. You become just like their possession. Fight the power, man. Be a hippie. That's what most Christians are, right? They're very
they're humanitarians, really.
They're humanitarians. And ye, we're going back into our skull friend, and ye shall take them as an inheritance. Oh, really? For your children after you. Oh, to inherit.
I mean, just because you die, I mean, you don't have to fire the workers, so they can work for your kids. You know, the family business doesn't end. You know.
Yeah, just because I die doesn't mean my property can't go to my children, right?
Of course.
Of course.
They wouldn't want it any other way.
Any other way. It's biblical, James. What we have to have rule.
It's holy.
It was the people of the time, James. You need to understand that as a book written a few thousand years ago, it only looks like a book written a few thousand years ago, inspired by man, because, it might be a book inspired by man. Ooh, it might be.
I mean, it could be that, or it could be a magical book made by God. When the Holy Spirit came upon man and sodomized their brains and made them write this stuff, inspired them.
Inspires me every day, baby.
Have you been sodomized by the Holy Spirit, Amy?
Not enough.
Oh, okay.
On good days.
Only on
So
days
we're
that end in
taking-
Y.
in days that end in Y. So we're taking inheritance for the possession. Inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen. Wow, that's a weird word.
Like bail bonds.
Forever. Forever.
Like when you get
Hmm.
involved in like a prostitution sting and you have to get bailed out, you call the bondsman, right? It makes sense.
That's right, baby. It makes men. You better call Sal. It was basically. But over your brethren, the children of Ishmael, ye shall not rule over one over with rigor. Don't do it with rigor. You can rule over each other. Just like don't do it really rigorously.
Be nice. Don't beat them every day. Don't be too harsh on them, and don't beat them so they die right then. I mean, if they die a couple days later, that's on them.
That's also too much paperwork.
Yeah, exactly.
And if a sojourner cast a spell or a stranger danger wax that rich right off your feet, by thee and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax on, wax off poor, and sell himself onto the stranger danger, or sojourn by thee, or to the stonks of the stranger danger's family. After that, Jesus Christ, like God, take a break. Like
I'm
grab a
not
snack.
done yet.
What are you
I'm
doing?
not done making up rules yet. Keep writing, Moses. Yeah, I'm not
Keep
even
writing.
close to being done yet.
You know that scene on Airplane where he keeps on trying to explain his life story and people just keep on killing themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange fire. Hey, is that some strange fire there? You sure you want to light that fire?
I love that story. That story is burned.
You know how I
into my
feel
skull.
about strange
It's not
fire.
just that he killed his son, the two sons. And once again, we bring this up, and the Christians are like, "Oh," and maybe the Orthodox Jews, who knows? They go, you fedora atheists. No, there was a chapter where God just killed Aaron's. They woke up to it basically and killed Aaron's sons, one of the main priests for God right now. They killed two of their sons. The sons had not been named until then for presenting a strange fire. What is a strange fire? God never says. But the moment he kills the two sons, Moses turns to Aaron and says, "Shh, don't say a word or you'll anger God."
Yeah.
Wow.
You've still got two sons left he hasn't killed, so suck it up. Here's a broom and a dustpan. Go ahead and sweep up the ashes of your kids that God just incinerated, and don't say shit. Don't complain. Don't bitch.
I mean, it's seriously out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And okay.
So imagine if you have 4 kids and the guy says, "Not anymore. You only have 2 now."
And
you used to have 4 kids.
You used to have all that was missing out of that scene was an evil cackle. Like that is the only thing. You even had a lackey. You had the main villain, the lackey, and someone's sons being burned in front of what's the movie with? It was like straight out of Austin Powers.
God's cremation service.
Basically,
hey Moses,
killed with sharks with laser beams.
Hey Moses, hey Aaron Ra, here, take these sticks and just go ahead and roast some marshmallows over your kids.
Nothing
like a good cremation to come together, roast some marshmallows, stand by the fire.
Well, also remember he had to clean them away too.
Yeah, sweep them up, the remains.
So good Stockholm syndrome too.
Yeah.
But okay, ye shall not rule over with rigor. Thanks. Did I read 47?
How humanitarian of God. How kind. How
compassionate,
loving.
and prejudice. What a good mix. And best stranger danger wax rich. I'm trying to remember from 47 or 48. And if I'll just read it. If a sojourner, stranger danger, wax
All these
rich
verses
by
sound the same.
well, he says he takes so long to just say one thing, and normally that one thing is horrible. By thee and thy brother that dwelleth by him, wax on, wax off, pour, and sell himself unto the stranger danger, or sojourn by thee, or the stonks of the stranger's family.
The stonks.
After that, stonks, gotta invest in them. After that, he is sold. Sell him at the flea market. He may be redeemed again. One of his brethren, I am going to redeem. Yes. He may be redeemed himself. Redeemed. Either his uncle, random, or his uncle's son may redeem him. I'm sorry, it's just so random. Oh, woohoo! Or any that is nigh. Can it be his aunt? Can it be a cousin? No, it's got to be the uncle. Okay. And any that is nigh of kin unto him of his family may redeem him. Then why did you just? Okay, then why say? But why? Once again, redundantly long. Okay, what?
And
James?
also, remember, just in case you forgot, don't have sex with your uncle.
Don't have sex.
Yeah. Or your aunt.
Yes,
yeah.
in case you forgot. Though,
in case you were tempted to.
How did those first books recreate? How did Adam and Eve mate? And then and all their brothers and sisters? And how then did all the people after Noah make babies again?
Well, you see what happened was God, during the conception process, he was right there, and he made sure that the DNA didn't produce any harmful mutations that you would normally.
There you go.
Normally, you might get that for incest.
He was
God
micromanaging.
He made it so that it would work for a while, but after a while, he stopped doing that. So now, if you were to do
he got lazy.
Yeah, it could cause harmful birth defects and stuff like that. So it's a bad idea today, but back then. It was good.
Back then, he was micromanaging, but he hasn't really installed the latest update, so he hasn't been able to play the game lately. So after that, he's slowly maybe redeemed again. His uncle, we go cool. And he shall be a reckoning this fall, reckoning with him that brought him from the year, that year, you know which year, that he sold to him unto the year of Jubilee. We're throwing a celebration, everyone. And the price of his sale shall be half off, according unto the number of years, according to the time of an hired servant, which seems to be different from a servant. Exactly, the price is right.
Yeah,
shall it
they
be
actually.
with him?
The servant and the hired servant, they mean exactly the same thing. So I don't know why the Bible is breaking them down into two separate classes, apparently. Yeah.
And okay, we are about to be finished tonight's chapter. We have been reading Leviticus chapter 25. And after this, we are going to bring it into the open mic. So we're going to have our chapter review, and then we're going to bring it into our open mic so you can tell us about all the wisdom that you have been learning about today. James, as I always say, when I'm in a deep, dark spot, what I like to say is, if there be yet many years behind, according unto them, he shall give again the price of his redemption out of the money that he was bought for. And it just gets me through a hard time. It just really does.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
If you don't really.
If you don't think about it
too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Praise Jeebus, or
praise Jeebus,
Moses,
or Moses, or I still don't get that. What the thing they try? I went on a channel called EF Dawa, and the the apologetic they gave me for, because I really do have a beef with prophets. This whole notion of just this middle manager,
Yeah,
and they're
you just
like,
trust them.
well,
You trust them. They're telling you the truth.
when you're learning from someone, you have a teacher and a book, right? Well, sure, but it's because they went through lots of years of studying in the field, and they also are reading a book of peer-reviewed papers and
verify that they have knowledge in the field.
And they are not also claiming to have a one-on-one connection with the God. It's not like they're claiming to have a one-on-one connection with physics, and there's only one physics person in the world. That's not how it works.
We'll get that Nobel Prize in the mail.
I know. Fucking prophets. I still don't get it. You need that middleman. Where were we? We think we were doing slavery. 51. And if the remain, but always doing slavery, but a few years onto the year of Jubilee, because we're throwing a celebration in Leviticus chapter 25, then he shall count with him one slave.
Like the count of that. You got that.
Slaves.
The count.
Great minds think alike, James.
He was one of my favorite characters on Sesame Street. Count. I love that character.
I love that whole show. It was good. And according unto his years shall he give him again the price of right of his redemption. Come on, write down. That's right.
Yeah, the price is right.
And as a yearly hired servant, which is different from the servant that you get, the heathens around you, once again, shall he be with him, and the other shall not rule with rigor over him in thy sight, but rule over him. I don't get it. It's such a weird, pedantic thing. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like your boss. Your boss rules in a way. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, it's your boss. Exactly. Same thing.
You can tell him
in his house, and he doesn't pay you, and you can't leave.
And if you look at him the wrong way, he can beat you half to death with a rod.
Oh, picky. And if he be not redeemed, the Redeemer, in these years, then he shall go out in the year of Jubilee, both he and his children with him. For unto me the children of Israel Shmishmael are servants once again. See, he called you his chosen people. Well, what does he really think of you? That's what he really thinks of you, okay?
Yeah, lackeys.
Chosen people, my ass. Servants. They are my servants.
Yeah.
Whom, guess what?
It's entertaining.
Yeah, it's fun. Whom I brought forth out of the land of New York, and I can send your ass back in. I am the Lord Bob, your goddess. So what did we just read? Blah, 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 blah. Buy some heathen neighbors for slaves. Oh boy. They and their families are to be your possessions. What's that time frame? Forever? Oh my God, it was the TVA all along. When you die, your children will inherit your heathen slaves as their possessions. Yada yada. Whew. My Lordy. Praise God. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to bring us to our Leviticus chapter 25, Sabbath year and Jubilee year chapter review. Whew, James, the wisdom. Can you feel it?
I mean, I can say we've done lots of amazing chapters so far, but this one is very special to me. This one is
very special.
This one will stay with us for a long time, you know.
And it started so nice. It's like we were throwing a party but it's like one of those parties where you get in, you're like, ooh, oh, I love the hors d'oeuvres, and oh, the music is great, and hey, is the door locked? That's a little funny. And oh, there's guards, and uh-oh, yeah, it turns you can't leave. Wow, should have read that contract to that whole party. So what do you think, James? Was it as good for you as it was for me? Uh-oh. James might have gotten summoned by Satan. And if so, that's okay, because we are actually about to move into our open mic. If you just joined us, we are Skeptic Bible studying Leviticus chapter 25. We are having and throwing a year of a celebration party. We kind of survived COVID, so, or at least we've been surviving it, so sending love out there. And with that, I think we're going to bring it into our open mic portion of the section. Remember out there, I'm going to be able to see comments again. So if you'd like to see your comment read on screen, feel free to tag me at Amy Newman. If it's for the panel, I'll try and get it in. If it's just a funny comment, I'll show it on screen. But I will be sending the link into chat. And and there we go. And please remember to, when not talking, to keep your mic muted. And with that, we are going to roll into tonight's woohoo! And all right, everyone, the link is in stream. We will go for a little while. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about Leviticus. It has been... This is one of those that gets quoted where we had to just deal with so much anti-gay stuff. Just from a single line. Single line. We have to deal with slavery. We had to deal with God wanting offering after offering after offering, which I understand, I guess, sets up for the whole Jesus thing. You kill so many other animals, you gotta step your game up. You can only have, we killed a goat, we killed a ram, we were doing, putting the blood over across the corner. But you can only do that for so long. Eventually, you gotta get somebody up on those pegs. Just make them all nice and cozy. Ugh. And hey, it's a brutal death. Brutal death. Though you can see foreshadowing in the Isaac story, the Abraham and Isaac story, drives me absolutely cuckoo. And the apologetic normally goes, oh, well, he pulled Isaac, an angel. It's always someone else, doing his dirty work. God was like, yeah, I was playing a trick, and go do the thing. Go tell him. Kill a kid. I would never kill someone's son. Yeah, okay. Guess that's a spoiler alert for chapter 2. Woohoo! Celebrate good times. Saying hello to everybody. Hello to Chris. Hello to Mark. Woohoo! Hello to Amaretto. Oh, really? Woohoo! Celebrate Amaretto. And Aunt Jur and Kafifi and Bob Sadler and Skywatcher and everyone out there. And I'll keep on riffing, and we'll go for a little bit longer for the open mic. And if not, we'll close it out. But I've been having a good time. We're almost done Leviticus. Whew. I think there are 66 books in the Bible. This will be book 3. And you can tell how dense it is. You can see why many believers don't read their Bible. Because, it's not the Sunday school version. It's not the greatest hits. Riff. The going along, God burns Aaron's rods. I mean, speaking of the greatest hits, because it seems so long ago, but God burning Aaron's son is Leviticus. These are just memories that get burned into my skull because I never learned them in Hebrew school, and they're so evil that I'm curious what the apologetic is. Like, I want to know, is there a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim trying to defend the Torah? Anybody? Why strange fire? Why did they have to die? Doesn't seem like a loving God to me. Seems like a dick. So, I think I'm gonna go over. Oh, we got Mark. I was gonna say gonna go over this because this just burns me, but we're gonna bring in Mark. Just the greatest hits of Leviticus, let me tell you. Which means, Mark Reed, sending love. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Amy?
I'm doing pretty good. We are late night Skeptic Bible studying on Leviticus chapter 25. We threw a celebration that ended with a little bit of slavery. Didn't end as nice as we hoped, but I hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts?
Employment.
Yeah, that's right. I'm so sorry.
It ended with permanent involuntary employment.
That's right.
Yeah, this is one of the weirdest arguments I've ever heard. And we had briefly in chat one of the guys that sort of was, oh no, it wasn't slavery, and it wasn't, it's such a ridiculous claim to make. Especially with this saying that, hey, if you do have Jewish bondsmen, and you could stretch sort of, because bondsman is really a medieval idea, right? But you could stretch it to include like people that owe you money and stuff. But with the Jewish people, they could go after on the jubilee year, which is what we're talking about, right? The celebration year. But it clearly states that if you buy slaves, or I'm sorry, volunteer employees from the people around you, that they can never leave. They are owned by you forever, and not just you, but your family and their descendant. It says that explicitly. And this is the strange thing. They want to say, hey, well, you're not reading it right. And it's like, but how can you read that passage any way differently when it's 100% explicit that you own them forever? So that bewilders me. And it's really weird. I mentioned this quickly in chat, and I don't think it's sort of like this whole idea of on the seventh year, you let the land rest. You give the land breathing room and stuff. And so they obviously knew enough about agriculture to know that, you can't just grow crops on the land again and again and again. But this is a really bad way to sort of get the soil to recover or be fallow, as they call it, which is basically just let anything grow there. Don't grow crops. Nowadays we practice crop rotation. So I want to know, why didn't God know about crop rotation and, nitrogen fixing plants like beans and things like that fix nitrogen into the soil? Why is this God using one of the worst ways to sort of rejuvenate the land that we currently know of? It's crazy. He could have just said, hey, separate the fields into, 7 different fields, leave one fallow every single season. It would do the same thing, and you wouldn't have the problems of having an entire year without crops. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. In fact, a whole lot of this didn't make sense. It's absolutely nuts. Yeah.
But Mark, you just can't see the 5D chess. You see, if you were a god, it would all that horrible, horrible stuff. It would be brilliant.
But that's sort of yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like the God here has a knowledge as good as current humanity, or even medieval humanity. Who, when they sort of invented sort of crop rotation and that kind of thing. So, how can a God be all-knowing when he doesn't even have a modern working of social politics, or why slavery is bad and why it doesn't work in the long term? It is just crazy to me. I think that's a very good indication that, at least, I mean, I can't say for sure no God ever anywhere exists, but the God of this particular book, that's very good evidence that the God of that book knew less than we do now.
Yep. It seems like, I hate to say it, it almost seems like it was inspired by men.
Oh, absolutely, it does. If you sort of take the two hypotheses, that there is an all-knowing God and there is fallible men that wrote about this stuff, you would the probability that it's fallible men is so high, because it just can't be an all-knowing God. It just can't be. It makes so many mistakes and so many errors and so many poor judgments. It just cannot be that hypothesis.
Us can't be.
Well, I think the problem, either that or, like, I mean, you can make some ridiculous hypotheses like, oh yeah, it's just trying to show us a lesson, or it's just trying to, it's just playing a prank on us. It's a pranking God. It's the God Ashton Kutcher who's going to jump out and say, pranked. You believe that the stupid stuff I was doing were people, not, but that just makes it a ridiculous argument, because you could apply that to literally anything,
You see, he's going to jump out after you've been a slave for all these years. He's going to be like, just kidding.
Yeah. Yep. You were a slave for no reason. Aren't you the idiot? Don't you feel like a fool?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to get somebody on that would, that seriously thinks that the Bible doesn't condone slavery with these passages, because it's just, and I wonder, have they ever gone through and read the passages? Like, how? I remember showing the Bible to this guy and saying, listen, just read it for what it says. It's very strange that, even with the most generous translation, this is nothing but slavery. Whenever you're owning somebody as property, it is slavery. I mean, having bondspeople is a form of slavery. I mean, it's gentle slavery, but it's still slavery.
good kind of slavery.
Good slavery. Yeah.
The good slavery. And okay, thank you so very much, Mark. And I'm going to pin the comment. Woohoo! And we will have some fun.
Woohoo!
I want to talk about actually two different things. I want to talk about God burning Aaron's son to death because I found it really random just looking at Leviticus.
Again,
Yes, and so I'm going to send this into chat and pin it again, or pin it. So if you disagree with us,
woohoo!
Jewish, Christian, or otherwise, you think we got it all wrong, feel free to come on here and tell us. And I actually want to indirectly address something. We will never and have never banned anyone for disagreeing with us on slavery or calling someone a liar. Neither of those reasons were any reason why we would be ever to ban someone. It's almost like someone broke the TOS and then got mad. But
if it happened that somebody did end up banned in chat for something like that, if they came onto the Discord and talked it over, we'd probably let them back on if they agreed to try to be nicer.
It's almost like it wasn't the whole slavery thing because, hey, all the Christians defend, well, not all the Christians, a giant portion of the Christians defend slavery. If we got triggered by that, we would have to.
It's just one of the many bad arguments that we deal with on a daily basis. It's par for the course, really. It's just the same apologetic nonsense, and left is right, down is up, the sky is made of purple rain.
And we are a politically incorrect, free speech, whatever fucking label flag you want to go by. We let everybody say everything on here. Just don't break the goddamn TOS.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, but that isn't up to you guys. I mean, YouTube does the TOS, and that's
right. We're trying to at some point get monetized, so we don't want anything to put that in jeopardy. But isn't it? It's funny, Mark, how when you're talking with Christians about this, how quickly they go from the Bible doesn't support slavery to, well, the biblical slavery, it wasn't as bad as slavery in the antebellum South in America. It was a nicer kind of slavery.
It always comes up, it's not chattel slavery.
Even if that were true, I mean, you're
hired and not
Yeah.
hired. There is no, if it says it true, there would be no reason to put hired servant and servant if one was paid and one, if they were both paid, you would just say hired servants. And there would be
there's clearly two different classes of servants, the slaves and the regular workers, which they did have, but yeah.
Well, what I find they go to is it's not chattel slavery, which is
not
a particular. Right, and that's like, well, just murdering somebody by choking them is as bad as setting them on fire. What it's still slavery. It which is just a ridiculous argument.
An evil, immoral system, regardless. But except they're the ones claiming that actually our system was invented by the wisest, most loving, kind, all-knowing creature in all of existence, and he endorsed this kind of slavery. Yeah.
And no country would put up with that good slavery these days. There's no well, I mean, I shouldn't say that because there are a few countries that are ruled very badly or governed very badly, but no first world country would ever consider their form of slavery to be just or right. It just wouldn't happen. We understand how bad that kind of system is for everybody, not just the slaves, but the slave owners as well.
Night Amaretto.
Night Amaretto. I mean,
Night Amaretto.
Good luck on your job.
You're talking about kidnapping people with violence and transporting them somewhere else and forcing them to do work for you under the threat of death. I mean, it's just an immoral system.
Well, even if you're not, let's just say they're not. I know it says that's
Yeah.
that's what you're doing. Take the people from the nations around you. I know they are, but let's just say they're not. Even participating in this system isn't a moral action because you're supporting it. It's like in the cases of like people saying, "Oh, but the most of the African slaves were sold by Africans," and it's like, okay, granted,
That doesn't make it okay.
right, and it's the demand created by the Europeans buying the slaves that is creating that situation. It's still an immoral act to be participating in it. And you might argue that it's immoral to create the demand in the first place instead of going out and actually kidnapping them yourselves. You're making a motivation for other people to do it.
Right.
Still doesn't make it right.
And it's biblical. It doesn't matter. That's basically, in my head, that translates to, yeah, but other people do bad stuff too.
Yeah.
But we're talking about your God. We're not talking about other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not claiming the other people are on a moral high ground, you know.
Yeah. So that's
they're claiming that they're on the moral high ground. Their God is perfect and just and
I just want to put this before we go too far, because James, like, you remember the whole love. Once again, because we're about to wrap up Leviticus. So this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 10, at the very beginning. God burns Aaron's sons to death. And Nadab and Abu, guys who we have not had names until now, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer and put fire therein and put incense therein and offered strange fire before the Lord. What is a strange fire? Doesn't explain, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord. Once again, definitely not what a supervillain would do. And devoured them.
But Amy, it's not from the Lord. I mean, just because it says it's from the Lord doesn't mean it's really from the Lord, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, like, does strange fire mean like it's unholy in some way? They've done like a ritual wrong or something? Like they've just fucked up and, you know,
it's so vague.
Put the wrong incense in the fire or something?
It's so vague.
The wrong Glad plugin.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it was probably a practice. Like God had detailed instructions for everything.
Right.
And any small deviation could have, you know, really triggered him, and to the point where he's just going to incinerate people on the spot.
Gee, I'd hate to see work experience day at the temple. You know what I mean? Like
people people just getting smoted and burning in piles of ash.
Drop the wrong incense, and suddenly you're on the fire, buddy. Like,
but did you read the part about Moses afterward?
Well, that's what I mean. So
yeah, go ahead.
And then number 3. Then Moses said unto Aaron, "This is it that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified." And Aaron held his peace. So Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, offered strange fire in front of God, which he commanded them not to do. So God burned them to death. Moses said to Aaron, "This is what God said. I will be sanctified by those that are near me, and I will be glorified by everyone." And Aaron watched in silence as God burned his sons to death. Loving God right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
What's the footnote after "so God burned them to death"? See, it's got the 1. Do you know what the footnote is?
There went out fire from the Lord, devoured them. What does the Bible say about fathers burning people to death? This maybe he's going over a contradiction.
Oh, there went out the fire and the Lord devoured them. Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
2.
I mean, it's just a bizarre passage, but I mean, it's kind of just par for the course. There's a lot of very, very unusual things that you don't often hear about. You're not going to hear about it from a pastor. You're not going to hear about it in Sunday school.
Right.
I definitely didn't hear that while I was grooming over the Torah.
You got to feel for Aaron, though. I mean, poor guy. He's got to just stand there. I mean, you feel like dude, you got to get out of this cult. Like,
Yeah.
right now, run.
You used to have 4 sons, and God just killed 2 of them.
Right.
Leave while you still got some kids left.
It is literally out of a horror movie. And if you can't see that this is the bad guy, I don't know what else to say.
Well, like we said before, if you were an inmate in a Nazi concentration camp, and you died, you would actually be wanting to go back to that terrible place once you got to see God. You know, he would be much worse
You get
because
to worship him.
Yeah, you didn't get the memo about that Jesus thing, did you? Oops, sorry.
Oops.
Yep, now you got to burn. Bye
Didn't get the
bye.
good news.
Yeah,
Such good.
Anybody who could make the Nazis look like the better guy than God. That's just
And okay, we got Nick backstage.
Woohoo!
So we're about to be a foursome. But I might have actually gotten him right when he went AFK.
cut
We'll
off?
find out.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll the dice with me being impulsive. Nick, how are
Maybe
you
Nick.
doing? I should have. I saw him. This is me. We're gonna go this. Boop. Doop.
Hi there, this is Nick. I happen to be here right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can just keep on talking and I will listen anyway.
Doop.
Nice
How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, well, I was in a great mood. I had a marvelous
now.
I had a marvelous day today. It was a great day. And then I said, I really could use some literature about burning kids alive. Why don't I join Amy Newman's streaming?
Right?
I said, you can't let yourself be in too good a mood for too long. So here I am. Now, this is not on you, by the way. This is just your choice of literature, by the way. I think everybody here is great, but your choice of literature is somewhat questionable.
The Bible bringing the room down since 0 CE.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, they wrote this to make themselves feel better too, which is what blows my mind. I was like, well, we gotta find a way to inspire ourselves through the desert. Okay, this guy's chasing us. This is what's gonna happen if we stop. So let's keep going.
Once again, this is the guy of love. I'm waiting for the love to come in, but it seems a little, I don't know.
I'll be waiting a while.
Yeah. You'll be waiting until the New Testament, I think. I think it's gonna be. It's about halfway through the book. It's the plot twist. He has a son and he mellows out.
JC's turning up any day now, apparently.
Yeah.
And so, Nick, what do you think about our whole celebration? Has it been as good for you as it has been for us?
It's been marvelous. I'm so touched that I could be here at this glorious moment, and I've only been coming here for a couple of months, but it's just you welcome me like family, and oh God, now I'm gonna cry.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay, buddy. It's all right.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I failed out of drama school. So at any rate, no,
Don't quit your day job.
Don't quit my day job. Yeah.
Nick, I was crying right with you.
Right
there, I was feeling it.
Biblical slavery, the good slavery.
Yeah, the good slave. Yeah.
Slavery.
I was going to do that. That's what she said. But
slavery
I think
for the whole family. Fun.
Oh, you should always say that. But
yeah, well, it's I was also I was gonna do another joke on the foursome bit too, but I decided I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna. You get the timing off on one of those jokes, and you're a little gun shy for a little while. So I'll just.
That's okay. So is Yahweh sometimes, but he manages to get him to. Yeah, that's true.
No. He knows exactly what he's doing. Oh dear. What a sweetheart. Well, I have to say it's amazing because the genocide, all the big stuff, right? But it's like it's hard to realize just how many times. Because I've never read it fully through, and so watching these streams, and you get to see all the little details when we're not talking about Shittimwood. You get to see all the details of the individuals. Like I hadn't heard this story before, and it's just like, oh, I was gonna say, oh dear Lord, but I think I don't want to really try to evoke that name right now if I don't have to. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm thrilled you guys are doing this. This is a blast to watch and even more fun to be in. So don't say it, Amy. Don't say it, Amy. Don't say. I know exactly where your mind went as soon as I said that. So
you know it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we could. I'm changing it up with that's what he said. We're being gender neutral tonight, and even. Who doesn't love a good boy toy? Anyway, what are we talking about? And sending love out to Dr. Josh. And it's funny. We have a book right here.
Oh, here we go.
In the Old Testament. And in fact, if you love the Old Testament, you may need the Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament.
What's that say at the bottom?
Volume.
That's the book.
1.
That means that there is going to be, I want to think of it, maybe there'll even be a trilogy.
I mean, there's just so much in the Old Testament for him to give commentary on it.
Love Dr. Josh.
He's gonna be covered. He's booked on In Time next week on.
Really?
Dr. Josh is booked on In Time next week for exactly that purpose. Unfortunately,
hopefully you have PMARS banned from your chat.
Gee, yeah. Titan knows what he's doing. We got Titans on the case. He knows. I don't even worry about
Is that the guy from last week who was really mad? Like, who was just enraged at our interpretation of the Bible?
Yeah, Mark, the problem with you atheists is that you see words and then you read them. And that's
that's what it means. You can't just open up the Bible and read something and think that's what it means. That's a very lazy way of that's so lazy.
Because I had stuff to do, so I missed the last stream, but I sort of went on to his channel afterwards, and he was not happy. Maybe it was 2 streams. Yeah, I just he was a very unhappy little cherry, unfortunately.
PMARS?
Yeah, he was.
He kind of got triggered.
He was very upset with the amount that I wrote in his chat. Very, very upset. So
he self-kicked
love
himself.
out to you, PMARS.
And then
love out to you.
And then I like to think of it as he self-banned himself.
Self-banned.
Self-banned himself.
It's like
you don't send yourself to the banning place.
Well, because this is
people to hell. You send
this
yourself
is a comedy.
to hell, right?
This is a comedy podcast. You have to legitimately try to get banned. Like it has to
work your ass off.
You have to work really, really hard. So
PMARS obviously has some mad skills. Some mad skills.
He's number 1, I think.
Sunflower tried and he couldn't do it. So
I haven't seen Sunflower so long.
Sending love to Sunflower. Well,
he was
I
trying
love
to get
Sunflower
married.
just because Sunflower always starts out mad and then he comes on and then he's like, "Oh, hey, you guys are human people too. Let's have a conversation." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Hi, Sunflower. How are you?"
Yeah, he usually mellows out.
And we have been talking the book of Leviticus. We've been talking the Bible. What a book of wisdom we have been drilling out of it. And sending love to everybody out there in chat.
Just imagine we could go into the schools and take out all the science books and just replace it with Bibles. Imagine how important how great that would be for the kids to learn real science.
Exactly.
Real science.
Well, the most egregious thing is it's held up as a moral encyclopedia for morality. I mean, it wouldn't be as egregious to all of us as if it was just a book with these anecdotes and these stories
Crazy
in it.
things. Yeah.
Right, that's fine, but the way that it's sort of held up as sort of the morally superior book, that's the egregious thing. That it is sort of said, hey, everything in it is moral and right and correct, and it's like, well, you haven't read it then. Like, you can't have.
And to be fair, it's a product of its time. I mean, that was conventional wisdom for Bronze Age humans. It made sense to them at the time.
Absolutely.
It's not that they were necessarily evil people. They just didn't know anything. They were just trying to figure things out the best way that they could. So I don't consider, them to be any worse than any other religion back then. They're all equally wrong. It's all equally nonsense. Yeah.
Well, and that's the best argument that I've seen also for that point that I think it was a Muslim woman who came on like a week ago, and she had said that she thought that most Christians actually don't really believe. And I think to some extent she's correct. And one argument I make for that is because this is the book that is the guidebook to life. It is the manual to life. It has been written by the man who created you, me, everybody here, all of us. And there it is. Amy's got it. And you're going to read it just as soon as never. And
that's true.
If I believed this 100%, if I was committed, and I realize this because I considered myself, I was a Christian deist, but I was religious. I certainly believed in a higher power. I believed that the Bible was reasonably close to it. But if I really believed that was the inspired word of God, I would have read it, covered it. How can you get a job before you've read the manual? Yeah. How can you get a girlfriend or boyfriend before you've read the manual? How can you do any of these things? So the fact that and I'm aware that to some extent they say, well, we trust our ministers to tell us and interpret for us and yada yada yada. I only half buy that. The reality is this is the only thing that matters in life in the Christian worldview, and how many of them have read it?
Yeah. No, they're almost famous for not reading it. If you think that it's going to be the thing that gets you into heaven, if you're going to preach it at others or judge people, you would think that, but that's just the Old Testament. That's just the literal interpretation. that's just what it says. It's just what it says.
Amy, I'll be right back. Okay. I got to restart my computer. It's acting up again. But
thank God.
Summoned by Satan.
Amy, yeah. This is our chance to talk about all the stuff we said we weren't going to talk about. It's party time. Oh, I think that's one of the only reasons I stay on Twitter is because you can find people like that. It's just it's fun when, somebody's like, why do you guys hate the Bible so much? I was like, well, there's slavery in the Bible. There's no slavery in the Bible. Oh, really? Here you go. Here's the passage for you. Oh my God, there's slavery in the Bible. Well, it's only the Old Testament. Really? Let's talk.
They don't, and when you bring up the 10 Commandments, because that's their greatest hit, they're like, well, we got to have that, and you go through that. It's also not that great of a list. So
right,
and there's no 10 Commandments. It doesn't exist.
Well, that too. No official real.
Yeah. There's about 37 in Leviticus, and the quote 10 Commandments is like a popularized the number of people who don't realize there's no 10, there is no 10. There you go. There's a reason it's 10, not 11 or 12. People sat down and said 31, 32 is kind of a difficult number. Let's bring it down to 10. We can cut out
you imagine 600? That would be silly.
And some of them are so nutty, like the no shellfish and no mixed threads kind of thing.
So funny. Well, this is a god. A god is angry that you eat shellfish. What the?
Again, it made sense at the time for hygiene reasons. And I used to know more about the specific reasons for every one of those injunctions, but they actually made some sense. James brought that up about the culture and the time. Some of these really were an attempt at, the whole circumcision thing, an attempt at hygiene. Circumcision is actually more hygienic if you don't have access to.
I could even grant that with like the pigs, there might be parasites, even though they're not actually dirty, but parasites and all this other stuff. Here's my thing. Is the marketing sell going to be, well, we're doing it for hygiene reasons, or is it because, like, no, God wants the smidgels cut. He wants them cut. It's what he says. Like, so it's kind of a murky water, you know.
Well,
is it really hygiene? If it's hygiene, eat the God. And then why we...
If I was a god and I wanted hygiene, all I'd do is put in the Bible a recipe for soap. That's it. Right? Just one. It's a very easy recipe. It's easy to make soap. Just put in one recipe for soap, ash, lye, whatever.
Explain what a germ was. That would have been
well, I mean, but if people couldn't understand that, but still just say, hey, wash yourselves with this substance. The problem is nobody at the time knew about soap. And, you know, so why didn't God include soap? It would have saved millions of his people.
If I were God and I were concerned about hygiene, I wouldn't have invented bacteria.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah. That's also true. It just seems a little counterintuitive.
Well, wait, without bacteria, nothing would rot. So he had to.
No, he didn't have to, because there's the Garden of Eden. Apparently, presumably, it wasn't in the Garden of Eden. Now, the question was, did he make it afterwards? But he didn't make anything after the original creation, so after the Garden of Eden. So he must have accounted for the fact that in the future, there... Dear Lord.
There's a debate question for you to make me brew. Was there bacteria in the Garden of Eden?
Was there bacteria? Now, I would totally accept that as a debate.
That's a legit question.
Do you notice that when you talk like that, you sound like any other fanboy or fangirl? Like, it just sounds like you're talking about Lord of the Rings. Like, it makes sense if you're talking canon, but anywhere else, it just sounds like, okay, take off the wizard robe. We get it.
Well, that's where the expression "angels on the head of a needle" was actually, if I recall, that was was it a bishop, or was it talking about a whole bunch of other bishops? And he's sitting there going, "This is insane," because they were literally trying to say, "This is how many angels could be on the head of a pin." It's like, you have no way for. I watched my daughters. I have two young girls, and I remember they were playing with the neighbors, and they were playing, and one of them had a fire spell. And there were no rules to this. She just invented the fire spell. And then another one has a shield that blocks it. Okay, your shield blocks it, but your shield only lasts for like 10 seconds. Like, oh, okay, so she turns and runs. And somehow they negotiated and managed a dynamic set of rules. That for the most part they did. And then there'd usually be one point of contention. And you'd sit there and like, really? My shield is green, so it's like nature, which means it's invulnerable to green things. That's stupid. The fire thing makes sense, but the green and vulnerability does. And I'm like, this is religion.
The way that it works is that the rules, as long as everyone agrees upon the rules, they are the rules. It's only when you disagree. But if everyone just says it is the Son, and then you have the God, and then you have the Holy Ghost, and the Holy Ghost, you could make it work in canon land and make a TV show about it and all this, and it all fits. It's just when you're like, all right, can we test this in the real world? Or when people start to argue over it, then it all breaks down.
But that's sort of like internal critique, right? That's what you're talking about. It's in that structure, you're talking about the problems in that structure that don't apply to everyday life. And I think I really like your analogy, Amy. It's like two people arguing which is stronger, Superman or Goku kind of thing. Like it really is that level of, there is no practicality because these things don't actually exist. We can't demonstrate it anyway, and it becomes just an intellectual exercise. And that reminds me so much of, you catch the occasional theist, debate on the semantics of the Bible, and it does seem like, this Goku or Superman kind of stuff, like it really is crazy.
Theist versus theist debates, completely different than atheist versus theist debates. They're very funny. It sounds, in my opinion, like Goku versus Superman. And because there's either no experiment or no God to stand in and say this is the right one, just people saying their version's right. There's no one.
But then they get so worked up about it that they're actually willing to kill each other over it. I mean, the differences between Protestants and Catholics is so small compared to I think it's only 2 small points of canon, and about whether it's faith alone or faith in good works, and a couple other.
Well, it's small to us. It's massive to them.
Yeah,
they're it's like that Superman versus Goku. Like, the difference to somebody that doesn't follow either of those sort of animes or anime superhero, whatever. The differences are really small. They're both super powered people, whatever. But the differences to the people involved in that sort of product is just massive. How dare you compare them, kind of thing.
I have a way to convince you both.
With Evangel. Wow, all right. Bring out the big guns.
That's right. And no, Mark, you're absolutely. I have never seen someone more proud. Like this whole thing between Smokey and Praise and trying to convince him of being Trinitarian. I've never seen someone be more proud. So, like, this whole thing with the whole Trinity and not Trinity. This is serious
I don't
business.
get the Trinity. I was
though
never.
It makes no sense to me.
Well, I was never raised in any kind of religion. I mean, my family was nominally Protestant, but no religion whatsoever. They'd basically abandoned it by my parents' generation. So, I never got explained it or got understood it in any way. I think I went to Sunday school once and got thrown out for asking questions. I think that's the entirety of my religious education as a child. So, sort of as an adult coming with these people, it's like, oh, well, God's one, but not one. It's like, wow,
he's one, but he's not one.
Yeah, and it's three, but it's not three, it's one. And it's like, how can something that's one be not one?
Three separate, distinct persons, but they're not, but they are.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, and I've never gotten a good explanation. I've really wanted, like, a theist to sort of explain how this, explain it in a way that is, this is how it would logically work in the real world, and it just, they can't. They just don't.
I mean, they don't. Like, what they're gonna say is like, look, I mean, God is so complicated. You can't fit him in the human mind. He's so much bigger and. It doesn't explain it.
No, but that's perfect. That's perfect.
They call it a mystery of faith. Like, it's a mystery. Like, we don't understand how it works. We just believe it because why not?
Great. And so then, if you're saying that, I love that answer. That's my favorite answer, because then the follow up is, okay, if God is this thing that we cannot comprehend, we can't understand his motives, we can't understand what he's doing, we can't understand anything, then how is it he's good? By what grounds can you use your mortal intellect to say that he's good? Because the only word that you got is his. And you don't understand him. You just admitted you don't understand.
He tells us he's good, so we just have to trust him, right?
Well, I'd probably use sort of a reductio ad absurdum for that one, because that sort of answer could be used for literally anything, to wave away anything. You could have a magic unicorn named Baffles that, poops reality into existence. And you say, well, how can that be? You can say, well, he's not understandable. You could insert, and that was sort of, yeah, that's
you can't understand the unicorn. Yeah.
Or it's
right, you
can't
unfalsifiable.
It's an unfalsifiable claim.
Right. So, so what you'd reduce that to is sort of, well, that can be applied to anything, including the absolutely, completely absurd. So it makes no sense whatsoever.
Also, sending love out there, Fecknell and Church of Entropy. Woohoo! And Doorknob Heb. I'm not sure if I said hi to you. So, sending love to all people and our viewers. And we are having a Bible study.
Savory viewers, sweet and savory. So
they come for the flavor and stay for the burnings.
Stay for the burnings.
They stay for the burnings. That
stay for the barbecue.
That burning flesh, that sweet savory smell.
It's so weird that the Bible uses that phrase over and over again.
The sweet savor.
Once again, it's not fedora atheist hat tipping. God really does
in a circle. I thought we were in a circle.
Oh, that's right. Hey, we are right there, baby. Inner circle atheists.
Upper echelon, like the top.
had
I
to
still
kill
don't know what that
somebody.
means, but sure.
The top
He
1%.
said- do you know where it comes from?
I can only remember it was somebody rang up Atheist Experience and said that they were an inner
Canadian
circle. I
Catholic.
don't remember. Oh, it was
Canadian
okay. Yeah,
that was his
that tracks, yeah.
intro. Well, he was basically like, no, you guys need to understand. I was an inner circle atheist.
I wasn't just
And
an atheist.
Yeah, I wasn't just an atheist. I was an inner circle atheist. And he said that not just once. He has at least said that 2 or 3 times on their show. And they just were like, we are going to make a fucking pillow or t-shirt or whatever the hell you want out of that.
Yeah, why not? That is hilarious.
Nobody's invited me into this. Amy, can you hook a guy up? I want to get into this inner circle.
I will say, like I say, you normally have to kill someone or eat babies or whatever it is you have to do to become an inner circle atheist.
Oh, wait. To become an inner circle atheist, I have to act like God. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, is God an inner circle atheist?
Yeah, well, I seem to be doing all the behaviors of it.
I mean, a genocide here or there. What's that for a god? It's like,
what's a genocide between friends?
Mistakes were made, just
I'll kill them all.
He made them. he was the one that made them.
I'll kill them all, and then I'll sort them out. Kill them, and then
we can
sort them out.
We can sit here and parse blame, or we could just try to move forward. Okay, I'm just saying,
Godsplaining.
Yeah,
not mansplaining, but Godsplaining.
And okay, we're gonna probably stay live for another 20 minutes or so. We're having fun. We are.
4:30?
Yeah, till about 4:30.
I'm gonna need to bail in about 5, I think. But yeah.
Hey, we've been actually going for 2 hours. It's been going fast. We have been reading the book of Leviticus. We've almost put it back on the table. And that'll be the 3rd of 66 books. Oh my Jesus. Also sending love to Norfolk and Theo Fungi. What is up? Yes, that's like an inner city circle non-Lamborghini owner. Yes, that is. Sending love to what's that channel? Non-stamp collector?
Non-stamp collector. Oh, well, what about this one, Amy? Dark Matter 2525.
He does do good. Yes, does do good stuff. Sending love to Dark Matter.
I like his videos. Yeah, they are funny.
And Donald, sending love to Donald. If you're watching, send love.
Donald Trump. What? Which Donald are you talking to?
We're going more purple. More purple.
Oh. Purple Rain?
Purple Rain. And you don't need religion. Don't need religion, everybody. It's okay. It's okay.
Amy doesn't need religion when she's got sodomy. I mean,
baby.
The two, right, Amy? I mean,
that is a fantastic sentence, but yes.
That is a religion. I think that is an actual.
It's not religion when you've got sodomy.
Do you guys love when they try to turn the language around? You guys just believe in a religion. You're using that in a negative sense, right? Like your whole shtick is religion.
That's Ken Hovind. Like he does that. Like you guys have a religion too. You believe evolution on faith. Like Ken, are you actually saying it would be bad to believe something on faith? To just arbitrarily pick something that you're going to believe no matter what? Would that be bad?
I think it just is sort of when it usually comes up when you're asking for evidence of something, and they sort of say, "Oh, well, you have faith as well," and similarly they'll say that about decisions that you make in real time. I love it when they bring up like, "Oh, you have faith that a chair that you're going to sit in is going to hold your weight," because if a chair looks rickety, we test it, kind of thing. We don't just have faith in it. But it's sort of when you've got evidence and a higher sort of standard of evidence than them, they just want to bring it down to but we all using the same methodology. All methodologies are equal, so faith and science. So science is a religion, it's just faith, kind of thing. They want to make a proven methodology like science to be just another faith-based opinion, basically.
And now Nick is going to run in to save
so
Sunflower.
they can sneak their religion.
Yeah. James knows exactly where I'm headed with this.
I know. We do make certain to say. Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, the only thing with the chair, that's a very specific argument. I don't think it's the ricketiness. It's the Hume's problem of induction. So I end up, and I at first sort of resisted this whole idea. I was like, nope. Atheists don't have any faith-based propositions, and the reality is we do. And that chair thing, I actually would concur. That is a faith-based proposition because of Hume's problem of induction. And so the argument that they're trying to make is, well, you have faith-based beliefs too. And I would say, yes, I do. However, I have the minimum number necessary in order to function. And since you cannot remove certain assumptions that are faith-based assumptions because you can't rationalize them, since I can't remove them, nobody could function if we did. I go with them, but I don't add any more past that. God is one past that. And actually, Matt Dillahunty made the same argument when he was. Somebody asked him during his debate with Cy Ten Brudenkate. He said, "I try to have as few assumptions that I cannot justify as possible." So he's making a reference to the fact that we do have to have them.
But you're sort of using faith there to sort of apply to presuppositions, and I would argue that I mean, it depends on your definitions, of course, but I would argue that presuppositions aren't necessarily faith-based.
Assuming we're not in a brain in a vat, that's something you have to just predispose to do anything else.
That's hard solipsism.
Yeah. But you assume that it's very unlikely.
Sure. Like, you can make a presupposition that your senses are true for a given value of accuracy. So, you can say, hey, I know that my senses do have flaws. They can be tricked. They do have these things, but I'm going to presuppose that my senses are true to evaluate the apparent world, because there is no other way to interact with your apparent reality. Like, you don't have another way. I would push back that is faith-based because it's not really a choice to place your faith in something. It is absolute necessity to interact in the apparent reality around you.
I like that argument, and I've made that argument before, and I was finally switched off of that argument because I think this notion that faith has to be a choice is something that you're adding to it. Faith simply means that it is something for which you have no rational justification. And since we've also, by the way, often said that we don't choose our beliefs, right? We are convinced of them based on whatever evidence we find. And I often say my faith or lack of faith is not a choice. I am not choosing or not choosing. My choosing or not choosing has no bearing on whether or not it is faith-based. The only thing that matters is there rational evidence that I can use to support the claim? If there is none, then it is a faith-based belief. Ergo, those presuppositions, and I see Amy's like, oh, she's hot to say something, so I'm going to, those presuppositions would be faith-based because you cannot rationally provide any evidence to support them. But you have no choice, so you believe them. That's why they're called.
That's one definition of faith. I'm not sure I would. Sorry, go ahead, Amy. Sorry.
I just want to say pull it back. Even that doesn't sound good. Because you could say that everyone has presuppositions. I don't think the chair is a good example of that. I think that is confidence and not a presupposition. You could say that we have to presuppose logic, and then by using logic, we can then deduce why we are sitting on the chair. But there's a rational reason why you sit on a chair and expect it not to fall, as opposed to something that looks rickety and will break, or you expect it to stand together and you're actually surprised. And there are reasons why you're surprised. I think foundationally, you could say, well, do you have to use logic to prove logic? Meta, even lower, sure. But once we're using logic, and we're using rationality, then we should be able to make rational statements. Does that make sense? How I square that?
No,
I completely agree.
what you mean.
But my point is, they are deliberately going to that meta level. That's the argument they're making. And since they are correct at that meta level, then my point is, I try not to deny it. What I try and do is say, you are correct. If you really want to go to that meta level, you are correct. Here's why it doesn't give you anything. It doesn't give you anything because I have to presuppose induction. I have to presuppose that the future will resemble the past, even though I cannot rationally justify that. I have to. I have no choice. If I didn't, I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. I wouldn't eat food. I wouldn't do anything. So I have the minimum number of these, and the reason doing it is the reason I don't even like to do it is, and the reason I'm looking for a rational justification is because I know that the more times I act without a rational justification, the more likely I am to hurt myself and to hurt other people. So I keep the indefensible things that I do down to an absolute minimum. I cannot rationally defend induction and any kind of inductive reasoning, but I have to use it. It works. I'm going to assume it's going to keep working. I don't have to assume God. Tell me why I would have to assume God. Tell me why the fact that I make these necessary ones somehow grants you the okay to start to assume, because then the next one is I could just grant aliens or I could just grant solipsism. I don't have to do any of those things. So why are you adding unnecessary presuppositions?
Well, it's like when we were talking to Sunflower all those times, and he would come in and he would be making his case. He'd say, what do you have as, why should anybody else believe? And he would hem and haw, and he really has nothing to present. He just says, well, you guys can't prove you're not a brain in a vat. You have to make certain assumptions. So therefore, I get to assume this entire Christianity thing as something I'm just going to believe in without reason. I mean, I don't think the two are quite the same.
Well, if you want, that's fine. But could you, in reference... Sorry, Amy, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. Well, I just see... And feel free to tag me at Amy Newman if you want your comment read. Churchman says, statement being true hinges on logic also being true. I would say I have two presuppositions, which is I think, therefore I am, the ability to be conscious, and logic itself. So those, I think that everyone has those two presuppositions, and I think, in my opinion, that Thea sat on an extra one.
So you don't have the presupposition that your senses are true for a given value of accuracy?
Well, I would say that's where I think, therefore I am comes into.
Yeah, I would say that's under that general umbrella of
but
existence.
The problem with I think, therefore I am doesn't get around sort of hard solipsism at all. What you are, the fact that you are doesn't in any way tell you what you are.
Say that one more time. The fact
the statement I think, therefore I am says that because I have thoughts, I must exist. But what it doesn't do is make any definition or any kind of statement about what you actually are, whether you're human, whether you're a brain in a vat, whether you're a body in the matrix. So that doesn't in any way address whether your senses, your touch, sight, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we're touching.
I think there are other reasons to why all of that is real, to why all our senses are real. But that starts to go into my theory of mind and stuff.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Because
I think those.
No, go.
I think the point he's trying to make is that those larger presuppositions probably entail a number of smaller ones. And I'd concur with those large ones if you assume they entailed some smaller ones, like the senses and a few others. Induction, I think, also would not be included even in logic, but
Could you get around the objection with, doing a presupposition of logic by saying, but, in a way, the person arguing it is using induction or logic or their senses to argue it with you. So the question for me, and I'm not sure if this holds any weight or not, the question for me is, if that isn't true, I mean, I've presupposed it, why do you keep validating it by using it?
Because God gives me permission to. God made it. So I actually have an answer for why I can use it. You're the one who doesn't.
Well, I mean,
Newman made it.
the logic and all of these things may come from God, but I've got no reason to believe that. But if you were not granting me my presuppositions on logic, then you should stop using it, because the more you use it, the more you validate it.
Well, no, because my presuppositions that God is allowing me to. You have simply failed to recognize the source of where, how, and why your logic is validated.
I don't make any comment on the source at all. It may be that it's your God. I don't know. That's my answer to that. I don't know. I'm not making any comment on the source. But you've just, by using it, validated it to my presupposition, regardless of the origin point.
Well, the only thing, me as the theist, the only thing that I'm doing is saying it could not, it has to have an origin somewhere. It has to have an origin somewhere. It could not exist without God being the warrant for it. So by us even having this conversation, by you even having the ability to deny it, proves God. Not that I'm, by the way, I have never debated a pre-supper, so and I only have a passing understanding of the priest. I would love to debate one.
I thought you debated Darth Dawkins. Wasn't Darth Dawkins a priest?
Well, no, I had a small discussion with Darth Dawkins.
Oh, okay, sure.
I've debated. I haven't. Cy 10 and I were going to do a debate at some point, and he also wanted to hook me up to a lie detector, which I completely agreed to, on whether or not I believe in God, because he wanted to prove Romans 10.
Wow, trust issues.
Yeah, well, and it was going fine, but he started. The original question was, yeah, he thinks I really believe. And so the original question was, so Cy 10 and I were going back and forth on it. And the original question that he wanted to ask was, and then we started a GoFundMe to pay for me to go. I think it was going to be in Canada. I don't remember. No, well, this was Cy 10. So the original question was, do I believe in God? I said, I will take a lie detector, no problem. Name the time and place. And a few other people started to put some money forward. And I said, well, no, let's say he wanted to change the question. I forget what the question was, but it was one that I figured I actually probably would trigger. But there's a reason for that. And one of the things that I explained to him, he said, well, you see, the reason some people, the reason atheists, he said, atheists will always start to get anxious when they talk about denying God or saying, I wish God to strike me dead or strike my family dead, yada, yada, yada. I said, that's half true. That's actually half true. If they are atheists that were born and raised in a largely theistic country and were born and raised as theists, yes, because that has been programmed into them past the age of 7. They have that hardwired, so there's still kind of this reflex. So I said, fine, I will find someone in Sweden or any country that is predominantly atheist and have them say that same statement. They will have no problem with it. I have a decent possibility of triggering some form of anxiety response. It doesn't mean I'm lying, but I was a theist for a while. So and as a child. So and he said, no, it's just because you believe. I said, no, we will don't define that. If you're going to have to change the parameters, I was like, you're changing the parameters. The question was, do I believe in God? I will pass that. I do not. No, period. End of discussion. Ask me that 100 times, I'll pass 100 times. But you're saying all of these things to try to trigger me, especially as a former theist. So let's find someone who never believed in God, who was raised in a predominantly atheist country, and then do it, and he ghosted me after that. So I refused to take his thing. So that was Cy 10. That was like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was debating a lot, and I got out of it. I was doing a lot of other stuff, but I really kind of wanted to have that debate.
Well, if you ever want to debate again, Nick, just remember, you can always debate me, brah.
Oh, listen, well, and I've been flirting with the idea of doing it. James is good enough to invite me to a couple of them, but I haven't found one that I'd really be interested in doing. And if I get back into it, I'm going to have to start with topics I'm very familiar with and not go too far outside of my because I try to really prepare for the debates, and I studied for a while. And the SJ debate was 2 weeks of prep. So was
Nick,
the
it might be like the meme. You've seen the meme. I'm sure you guys have seen it out there. Like, there's no atheist on the battlefield, or when you're about to die,
no atheist in foxholes.
Yeah, you'll have a deathbed conversion, and I guess that does happen sometimes, but I don't think it's the rule rather than the exception.
So saying hi to Oz backstage, about to get Oz in here.
Let me say
Also,
one quick thing on that. Well, the corollary that George Carlin, it's only atheists in foxholes, because non-atheists get up and fight because they're not afraid to die.
Yeah, because they actually go out there and do it. They're not praying, right? Also, hi, Claire. We are a skeptic channel. That tends to be the theme. We got a lot of atheists because we are a lovely non-believer community, but we love theists. And in fact, those are where the spicy fun calls. So we always love dissenting opinions. We're kind of addicted to it. And all right, with that, we are gonna bring in, and if you would like to join us, the link is in stream. We're gonna be going for a little longer, but Oz, the shark in that tank, how are you doing tonight? We are talking Leviticus and the Bible in general. Hope you're doing well, and what are your thoughts?
Hey Oz, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Oz.
What's up, everybody? Well, first and foremost, I saw the 1 year celebration. So congratulations. First and foremost.
Thank you so very much.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And just so we know that Satan is on our side, as soon as I said that, I'm on my back patio. A bat just literally flew right in front of me.
Really? Yes, hail Satan, hail baddies.
We could have Bob Larson go to do an exorcism if you want. Only like $5,000. It's a bargain.
$5,000?
Yeah, maybe a discount, $4,500.
That's a discount?
For Bob, probably, yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, tell Bob to go turn it sideways and stick it in his ass. Anyway, as far as Leviticus and the Bible, they're both bullshit.
Ramen. Woohoo!
Short and sweet. That's yeah.
Short and sweet. And all right, I think I don't know if we're gonna say an opposition viewpoint. We're gonna get someone who may agree with us on some and disagree on others. We'll find out.
Oh boy.
Thank you so very much, Oz. But Claire,
Hello.
we are Skeptic Bible Study, and I hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts for tonight?
Oh, pass me the
Well, I
Valium.
just so you're discussing Leviticus and saying how stupid it is, but anyway, I mean, it's the book of the Jews. So, do people think Jews are stupid?
I think their God is evil. I don't know about the Jews.
Most Jews don't believe that the Bible is the literal word of God. So I don't think.
And actually, I'd probably use the word disturbing rather than stupid. It's very disturbing and appalling.
Like,
and
I think
most Jews think if it were literal, they'd agree. That's why they don't think it's literal.
And I think if anyone...
They're no more wrong than any other religion.
Like, if any God says you're going to be their chosen people, say, yeah, no thank you, and walk away.
Well, over half of them have decided to walk away from that because they're mostly non-observant. And but then they say that the reason why the world is in such trouble is because so many Jews don't do what they're supposed to do. But the interesting thing about the Leviticus and Deuteronomy is that, I forget which book it was, but it says that those who break the Sabbath, the Jews who break the Sabbath, are to be stoned to death. So the implication is that no Jew here who is not observant should remain in existence.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a horrible God, and they should uprise against him.
But can we prove that if the Abrahamic God did not exist, that life would be better for all of us? I don't think we can prove that, can we? I mean,
So
I don't think we
don't
can just say,
understand.
oh, but if the Abrahamic God didn't exist, there would be no war and no murder and no horrible things, because I'm sure people were doing lots of horrible things before the Abrahamic God.
Nobody makes the claim. Well, first of all, nobody's trying to prove whether it would or wouldn't be worse. The question that I think most atheists have at some point reached the conclusion that he doesn't exist. But the hypothetical whether things would be better if he didn't, it's not. Nobody here is discussing a hypothetical. The belief of people here is that there simply isn't one for however they reached that conclusion. I don't. To tell you the truth, I think there are many good arguments to be made, and many atheists disagree with me on this, but I'm sincere in this belief, which is I'd kind of rather, I miss my belief I used to believe, and I would rather the God that at least I believed in, which is not quite this literal Bible one, but I would rather that belief. But what I rather, or what I think would be better, has no bearing on reality. The universe has a stubborn refusal to do what it is I want it to do.
But neither belief is falsifiable. So if you want to believe that God doesn't exist, there will be no conclusive proof that he does, and vice versa. So it seems to me that belief is a choice.
It's the null position. Yeah. Not falsifiable that there are aliens on the planet Kahutek too. There is a billion. There's an infinite number actually of unfalsifiable beliefs.
Indeed,
which means,
but only the one about God is important. That's we don't argue about whether leprechauns or fairies exist, but we do argue about whether God exists because it has political implications. Because
agreed, but my point isn't
we would choose and the laws we would follow.
Well, my point isn't the value of it. My point is that the null position has to be the default position, which is it isn't true until it is demonstrated. I don't have to prove that God doesn't exist. People who claim he does have to demonstrate that. So just as I would expect someone to demonstrate.
But they won't ever be able to, and nor will you be able to prove that God doesn't exist to people who want to believe, and therefore it's not our fault God hides himself.
Have you heard of Russell's teapot?
I forget. It's been mentioned
that's
to me
a hypothetical teapot that circles in orbit around Jupiter, so small that we cannot possibly detect it in any way. Now, when I'm making a claim that Russell's teapot exists, the null hypothesis is that it doesn't. It doesn't matter whether we can prove it or not. The question is should I believe this without being able to confirm?
I'm saying it would be moral to believe in God, even if we don't, because we can easily argue.
Why would it be moral?
Because we would have a better society, less crime.
That doesn't make it true. You're conflating the truth of a proposition with whether or not it's better. I could tell somebody they're going to... Hang on, just let me finish. I could tell somebody that they're going to win lotto tomorrow and they might have a better life. They might be happier. But that doesn't make it true. You're conflating truth with the utility of a belief.
I am talking about the utility of the belief, and I'm saying that the belief is unfalsifiable anyway, whichever way you slice it. So we have to consider the utility of belief in God.
Well, hold on. Two quick things. First of all, you're factually inaccurate about the societies that are better. If you take a look at societies, as secularism goes up, these societies have higher health indexes, have higher education indexes. If you take a look at
the West is in decline.
Scandinavian countries, if you take a look at these countries, you will find a correlation.
Japan,
Scandinavian,
Japan. In decline.
Right now, they're maybe in ebb and flow. My point is, so first of all, it seems to me like you're cherry picking, because right now, for all the data that we have says the more secular societies are doing better. That aside, the reality is you keep saying, I can't prove my position, you can't prove yours. You are correct, except I don't have to prove mine because I am not making a positive claim. You are. So you are taking these two claims and making them identical, and they are not. And that's the point of Russell's teapot. Saying the teapot is there versus the teapot isn't, you can't sit there and say, well, they're both falsifiable, so let's believe the one that's going to have the better impact on society.
I'm saying they're unfalsifiable.
So
therefore, belief or disbelief is a matter of personal choice.
No, because you should believe the null hypothesis, because I can say that about every other possible belief.
To be intellectually consistent, then, I could propose millions of things to you that would make you happier. Like, for instance, there's an alien that's going to come down as long as you feed your dog Cheerios after midnight.
But I wouldn't believe it.
And why not?
Because I wouldn't.
What does it matter? If it made you, if the utility, it has utility.
If the utility is better and it's unfalsifiable, then why wouldn't you believe it?
Because I would have no reason to believe why you would say anything true other than to confirm me. You have authority.
Thank you. Yeah, we have no reason to believe it. And because I'm the one making the claim, the burden of proof is on me to demonstrate why you should believe it. And if I make the claim and there is no it's unfalsifiable, then you resort to the null position, which is not believing it. That's why.
I think she means there's no reason from utility.
May I talk to top right-hand corner man? I don't know his name in the red shirt.
Nick.
Nick. Nick was saying earlier that Western countries have the highest happiness and wealth.
No, I did not say Western. No, I did not. Western countries tend to have higher religion. I said the more secular countries, which includes if you take a look at France, Germany, they tend to be more secular than the U.S. If you take a look then at Scandinavian countries, they're far more secular than the U.S. So I said as secularism goes up, and there's been a whole bunch of studies on this, as secularism goes up, you'll find in countries that have maintained secularism over a longer period of time have higher education, happiness index, better healthcare, better life expectancy across the board. Of the top 10 best countries ranked by the UN for life expectancy, health, and happiness index, 8 of them are the top most secular countries on the planet.
All right, but I know about the Scandinavians, who've been told that they're the happiest country in the world. I mean, individually, it's like, who, what, us? No, we're not happy. So we don't know, who compiles these statistics and propagates these, half-truths, it seems. But, we who live in the West, we kind of have an idea about how we feel about the government. And I get the impression that a lot of Americans are not happy with their government. And America is, top dog Western nation.
And highly religious. It's one of the more religious. It is actually the single most religious industrialized nation. Do you know how many people we have here that believe in the literal word of the Bible? Do you know how many people we have here who believe angels are real?
6,000 years old. Oh my God, more than 50% of our country.
40% believe in a literal interpretation of the Bible. No other Western country has that.
Okay, but I get the impression, the most of the Americans I talk to are atheists, and most Britons are atheists. I mean, they feel,
no study has ever found that.
Contempt for people who believe in God.
But I think
they have a bit of respect for Jews. I mean, they loathe Muslims. Their fellow Christians they also heartily despise. So if Christian principles are not even reflected in the law of the land, then I don't see how it would consider to be successful. So, if you have, whatever principles of your political ideology in force as law, then you are the one with the, operating political orthodoxy. And I don't see Christians as having any, Christian principles that are in force because of globo homo.
So here's
wait. Now, hold on. I want two things. I find that word. So
is that a bad word? I'm not supposed to use it.
We're a politically incorrect channel. I find that funny. That's like, I had to Google it. That's like what you're calling the new neoliberal. But the notion that it's like corporate homosexuality. I mean, come on. That's
it is promoted, by supermarkets and, things in the UK. They do promote it. And Britain does have gay marriage and transgenderism.
Yeah, I think they acknowledge the existence of gay culture, but they acknowledge the existence and accept them into
society. But it used to be a sexual offence. So whether we like it or not,
so what?
No, I'm just saying the law has changed, right? So what you're saying is people who believe in God are stupid. They have these stupid laws against
But here's my thing. See, one of my problems with religion is they're anti-homo.
I know, because we know of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Another horrible. We should judge God for Sodom and Gomorrah. We should be like, holy moly, God
did destroy them.
Yes, meaning he's the supervillain. He's the villain of the story. Where is God the good guy of that story?
No, I'm just saying, it's the the West was built on Christian principles, right? I mean, this is not denied. The past 3 global empires have been Christian, so I guess you owe something to Christianity, even if you reject it now.
I would say they got conquered. Like they were the Visigoths, the Romans conquered them. We were just talking about this with James earlier. And then they became the Romans, and then the Romans got Christianized. And then the Europeans, who were now part of Rome, then got Christianized. And then they went out and did a whole bunch of spreading religion the old-fashioned way. And now we're here. But I wanted to ask also, Claire, what is your, if you had to pick a country that you're like, this is the country that I want everything to be like, what would that country be?
Well, I have to tell you that I do support a one-party theocracy, and so far there's no country like that. There's only elements of, things like that.
What's the closest one what's the closest country?
Well, I suppose China, because it has a one-party state. But hey, George Washington actually said he disapproved of parties. So one-party states are not, the horrible ideas of Mao, Hitler.
Well, one party is still a party. He disapproved of all parties. One party was worse in his view than 4. Which was all worse than none.
That's a matter of interpretation. That's not what I got from him. He was just saying political parties are divisive. Don't have them. And for a while, America.
Exactly. Don't have them. So if you have one
state.
Yeah. So if you have one, he said don't have them. So one is already a violation of it.
Well, you need a political organization for, people to join and stuff, right?
I'm not arguing what you need. I'm arguing what he said and what he believed. You said he was against parties, but he was for having one. No, he was against parties. One is a party.
Well, then you wouldn't be able to operate any politics at all if you don't have a party.
People can run independently. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah, but you need some organizing structure for rules about who can join and who can't, and disciplinary matters and all kinds of things. I mean,
no, you can run on a platform or a mandate for your seat in the parliament, for instance, as an independent, as running by yourself.
Nobody gets
the modern political system is set up so people are part of parties, but there is no onus for that to be the only case. People can run as independents now. They don't have to be part of any party, correct?
No one is an independent. I mean, in the UK, who is an independent MP? You just can't get in. Nobody takes you seriously.
That's because the parties exist and people vote for their party. But if the parties didn't exist and only independents were running, then they would have to vote for an independent, correct?
And the government could function.
Well, yeah, but then you would have people just saying whatever hell they want.
Yeah, they would vote their own conscience. Yeah,
that was what Washington advocated.
I'm sure he didn't advocate.
No, that's what he advocated. People running on their own platform, having people vote in, give them a mandate based upon that platform. And then they would implement that platform that the people voted for, not the platform of an entire party. That's what he advocated for.
And keep in mind, he did that when this country had less than 1/10 of the population it does now. So things have also changed. But you were talking about what he advocated for. You were using that as part of your argument, but you misconstrued. You literally said what he said, which was no parties. So he was for a one-party system. No, he wasn't. He was for no parties. A one-party system is one more than no parties. I'm going to need to get going. I got to get going. I got to get going, but I did want to make a comment, and I do want to give you a chance to respond to it. I want to give her a chance to respond, so I'm not just going to get the final word I want. But I did want to make a comment before I go, and that is one of the things that you did in this argument, you've been doing it repeatedly, is any evidence, no matter how strong, that's against your position, you attack and dismiss. And when there's no evidence but your personal experience, you go on that. Now, there's a tremendous number of studies done from many, many organizations, from the World Health Organization to independent countries, that will confirm what I said about the more secular countries. Further, they will confirm things like in the United States, we have never had an atheist president. In fact, we will have a Muslim president before we have an atheist president. Atheists were, according to the Pew Research Group, atheists were trusted less than pedophiles up until maybe about 10 years ago. And there are 7 states in the Union in which the Constitution of those states says that if you are an atheist, you cannot hold office in that state. Your facts are completely wrong. Now, I understand if you're on social media. Hold on. I do want to hear your. I want to hear your response. I want to hear your response, and I'm going to listen to it. But I want to finish this. So, well, what you had said was that there are more atheists in the United States than not, and that is not even close to true. And the reality is that, and then you said, well, that's been your personal experience. You're going to go with that. I get that, because the atheists that are here like to go online and bully people. And so if you're just going to go by social media, you're going to get a very warped sense of what's actually going on in this country. And that I completely concur that that's what's going to happen. Doesn't make it so. So I think your understanding of what the U.S. is, where it is absolutely the most religious, industrialized nation. I think. And then if you're saying, well, who made these stats? You can go and attack that, but then look at that data first, and you're going to find it supports what I've said. And if you want to attack it and undermine it, that's fine. But I don't think the counter, this is what I've experienced, operates. The reality is, and there's enough evidence that I will say this unequivocally, the more secular, the greatest indicator of how successful a country is in terms of health and happiness, measured not by those countries' citizens, but by third parties that have come in and done it scientifically, not based on intuition, but scientifically. The best indicator is how secular that country is. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say in response.
Have a good night, Nick. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
I'll stay because I want to listen to her. I don't want to just say all that and then bail. So I'm going to stay.
All right, I take back my farewell, Nick.
Okay, I'll grant Nick's position that obviously, I can only tell you what I experience online of the Americans I've met. And another American has said, well, actually, lots of Americans go to church on Sundays, but maybe they don't, truly believe that Jesus is God. But hey, they do it, to be part of the community. And I completely accept that Americans want their presidents to believe in God, and they would rather have, sooner have a Muslim president than an atheist president. I agree. And I think, I don't think any an American president that isn't married would be less likely in America than anywhere else, where in Europe that they seem to be having a lot of gay unmarried prime ministers and presidents, which is a little different to America. So I totally concede your point.
I sincerely appreciate that, and I know you have a lot more nuance and probably a lot more to say, and I appreciate that you're not going further, so I can bail. So thank you very much. I am going to bail now. Thank you all, and I will catch up with you later.
Have a good night, Nick. See
Bye,
you next time.
Nick. And we're only going to be going for a little while longer because we just crossed the 3-hour line. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, we were going to wrap it up before, but it's kept on going. So
I can't help it.
Yeah, it's been good.
And Claire, even though I know it sometimes feels like, and probably is, like all these, the atheists and stuff, we really do appreciate differing opinions coming on.
I always respect somebody who's willing to come and put their ideas out there and get feedback without just running away, as we do see happen quite a lot. People just come in, chuck a Molotov cocktail, then run.
No, I'm happy to stay. I'm an agnostic, by the way. Just to be clear, I'm because I want to make the point that a lot of our beliefs we can't prove, and even if we believe crazy things like flat Earth, we will, there will be a reason that we can use
crazy.
to say, as a reason for belief, and ultimately it's all the ordering and prioritizing of our beliefs that is important. And there's, of course, obviously a reason why people want to, deny, I don't know, the moon landing or whatever.
Yeah, we should do podcasts on that. We tend to be the other side of that, but we wish they'd come on. We currently are dealing with Snake Boy. Come on, Snake Boy. That's what I call him, who believes the snake is orbiting around Earth and we're going into outer darkness.
Come on, Amy. Come on, Snake Boy.
Come on here. I wasn't trying to trigger P-Bars that time. I was trying to get you on here. Prove your Christianity. Get your butt on here.
Prove the snake.
Prove the snake. No, don't prove the snake. Screw your snake. Prove Jesus, because he doesn't want to defend actual Christianity.
I mean, what's cooler, Jesus or the snake?
Of cocktails. Yeah, he just wants to talk about giants, which once again, the more I think about it, the sillier it gets. I don't understand where angel plus human equals giant. Like, there is no lore. That's not how it goes.
That'd be like a puppy growing off a cornstalk, Ken Hovind.
Amy, I enjoyed your debate on Big Bang.
Thank you. I think it was a good, yes, shout out to Church of Entropy, sending love to her, and Leophilius. They just had our first episode of Debate Me Brah on Is the Big Bang Scientific? So go check that out.
Well, it's both scientific and religious. I just wanted to make a quick point about it.
Go ahead.
And I noticed that Theophilus, when confronted about the, that Big Bang necessarily required a singularity. That was what Jen was saying. What was that singularity? And I noticed Leophilia saying, "Well, I don't know," but I know he's an ex-Catholic. So if he did believe in God, he would have to say, "Well, that singularity was God." But because he rejected God, he couldn't pull up an immediate explanation. Do you remember that bit, Amy?
So, Claire, you left like 27 comments for that debate. I mean, next time you could probably put them all in one comment.
I was trying to be helpful and kind of time-stamping the bits I found interesting for people. Was that wrong of me?
No, it's just...
Yeah, he's teasing you.
You could put it all in one comment if that makes it easier, but either way.
It's actually... Well, because they're different topics, you see.
Okay.
Right? The different topics and maybe breaking it up in comments.
I would just push back and say that we have to say that we don't know what it is because that's as far as we can look back. So it
depends on what the meaning of the word is.
Whether God is the universe or whether God created the universe, right? So I think Jen's position is this, because
that's true. Jen is different.
Yeah.
No, so continue. I'm sorry.
So if you say the Big Bang, happened, then you could be an atheist, or you could also be, a believer saying, well, God caused the Big Bang, obviously, because he was the uncaused first cause. But because Jen is a pantheist and she believes that the universe caused itself, she would have to end there. She would have to say that the universe itself was uncreated. She's a pantheist, yeah. She was on Modern Day Debate. Pardon?
I remember we watched it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you're pantheist, you have to say that the universe was, always there, which is, I think, is an Aristotelian view, because there's a certain logic to it. So
what I think we really need to happen. Are you any denomination? Are you Sunni, Shia, your own brand?
Well, own brand, and I'm not even Muslim, but I'm basically saying it would be better if we followed these laws.
She said she was an agnostic a few minutes back.
So you're an agnostic, but you also said you wanted a theocracy.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm also arguing that there would be benefits even for atheists because of, social stability, economic stability, less crime.
I don't know. Those countries over there don't seem to be the most stable.
Which countries?
The Middle East.
Well, there are all kinds of reasons. I mean, which Middle Eastern country do you consider to be unstable? I mean,
kind of all of them. It's
the Gulf states.
Syria's got a civil war going on. Iran is a theocracy dictatorship. Saudi Arabia's got their trouble. They're in Yemen. It's yeah.
Well, the ganging up and bombing Yemen, basically.
So which religion would you be agnostic about, Claire? Are you just more spiritual or pantheist, or I think this is what we're getting at. Usually an agnostic is agnostic about something, like some religion.
I'm agnostic about the existence of God, but I'm arguing that everything is a political choice. So we make a political choice, a lifestyle choice, really. So if we decide to be gay or whatever, then it would not be logical to believe in God because people would be worrying about being punished. So it's a lifestyle choice.
Well, I guess the reason why is because a theocracy has a central religion in it, and if you say, "Well, I'm agnostic about God but have no religion," which religion would this theocracy be?
And I just have to make sure that. Because it's got snuck in there, but are you saying religion's a lifestyle choice or being gay is a lifestyle choice? Just have to put that linchpin. But you can't choose to be gay, though.
Well, you can choose not to express it.
But then isn't being heterosexual a lifestyle choice?
Yes, it is. And having children is also a lifestyle choice.
Once again, though, you can't choose attraction. Like, your attraction happens within a few seconds. So you could say, I am not going to have sex with people, but that doesn't stop you from being a homosexual or heterosexual.
But why would anyone
that just
do
means...
But heterosexual married people always want... I'm sure they want to have sex with lots of people who are not their spouse, but they don't. Or sometimes they do, and they're not supposed to. But basically... I mean, the bottom
that's
line,
cheating.
Okay, the whole point about marriage is that you're not supposed to have sex with anyone else other than your spouse, right? That is the rule, and we know people break it, and I'm sure they want to break it, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do, but that's a rule. You're not supposed to have sex with anyone not your spouse. So that's also a lifestyle choice, and there are political and societal reasons for imposing that rule.
But you're saying cheating is a lifestyle choice, but cheating and being attracted to women are not the same thing.
Well, I think all men want to have sex with most women, and sometimes they choose not to and remain faithful to their wife. That is also a lifestyle choice.
Yes, but that's a lifestyle choice. But the attraction to other women isn't a lifestyle choice.
You mean being gay?
That's what Amy's saying. Well, regardless whether it's gay or straight, it doesn't matter.
Have to restrain themselves. So why not gay people? Or if they don't want to restrain themselves, maybe not make it so open.
But some don't.
When they do, I would say if you're in a gay relationship, you're also choosing not to have sex with other people of the same sex, unless it's an open relationship. You're in a gay relationship and you are only having sex with the same person.
Yeah, and we kind of know that statistically, gay people are less likely to enjoy a stable relationship than religious.
We don't know that at all. Where'd you get that from?
Well, statistics about. I think I read some time ago that lesbians who marry are more likely to divorce than gay men who marry. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know if you know about this.
In America, divorce is 1 in 2. 1 in 2, 50% of marriages end in divorce in this country, and the majority are heterosexual.
Well, that's because of no-fault divorce. If you stigmatize divorce, then people will think again, right?
Super religious country. We're like Captain Christian.
And plus, it's religious people are getting divorced.
China
You know
and
that,
Russia and the West have no-fault divorce. We also know that India makes it very well. Apparently, Indian marriages last longer, but then divorce is stigmatized, made very difficult for the woman in India. So there's less divorce there, fewer divorces.
So you would rather two people be together and be unhappy than see a divorce happen?
I'm saying it's all to do with whether you want to rear the next generation as well as you can, because children of single parents don't tend to do as well as children of married parents. It depends on whether you care about that or not. And if you're not married, then you probably wouldn't care about that. But it could later, come back and bite you on the bum with, crime statistics, because most criminals come from
I don't think you have any
fatherless homes.
grasp of statistics whatsoever. I really don't.
And you could parcel out these things. You could say, we want stable, happy families, and we don't need a guy who's watching us 24/7, 365, who cares that we're dating the same sex. Could be both
you
of
could
those
do
things.
that. I mean, within before we had gay marriage and civil partnerships and that sort of thing. I mean, I'm sure there were lots of gay people who were discreetly being with each other and living with each other quite happily.
One was a guy called Alan Turing. Do you know Alan Turing?
Yeah, what happened to him?
Yeah.
So, are you
a hero?
Are you saying sexual liberation should be the rule for forever? I mean, we are seeing the consequences.
Sure.
I mean, it's led to mass immigration because the birth rate declines, and that creates a demand for cheap foreign immigrant labor, which is why nobody's stopping it. It's like the big corporations.
Okay, so you're just bouncing around topics here. You've gone from theocracy to gay marriage to now it's on to immigration kind of thing. It's sort of you're bouncing everywhere.
No, I'm not bouncing. I'm saying it's all linked. So a lot of people complain about immigration. We know that, the specter of Trump still looms over America because people still feel the grievances that he expressed on their behalf, which is mass immigration. And I'm saying it's caused by the demand created for labor that, the indigenous population couldn't satisfy. And it doesn't happen just in America. It happens in other Western countries as well, who lead the same lifestyles and have the same beliefs.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in Australia, so immigration's been, really successful over here. It's sort of we call it the melting pot. It's very, there's I live in an area where there's lots of different nationalities living around me, and I enjoy it. It brings a lot of different sort of cultural foods and cultural ideas, and these people
but there
are
are
good people.
There are Australians who hate it, like Pauline Hanson and others.
Sure. I don't really care what Pauline Hanson thinks, to be honest with you. I think she's an out-and-out
racist. They don't care what you think, because are you a married father?
Yeah, but what we're talking about is...
Are you a married father?
I'm married. I'm not a father. Is there a point to that? Is that just an ad hominem?
There is, because if you were a married father, you would be thinking and voting differently.
So that's just an ad hominem, basically saying because you are a certain
I'm just
thing.
saying
No, it is. It 100% is. You're not.
So who is this person? Is she?
Who? Pauline Hanson?
Yes.
She's a senator in Australia, yeah. Well, kind of a pretty right-wing anti-immigration senator because of the way our political system works, a proportional representation in the Senate. If you get a certain amount of votes, you get a seat. So she got one under a One Nation party, which is hilarious. She sort of warmed against this Asian invasion of our country kind of thing, and then that didn't happen. You know, we were all sort of living together quite happily. She moved on to the Middle East one now, and that's not happening either. So really, she isn't considered any kind of serious. You know, a lot of people just write her off. I write her off. She's just ridiculous in her opinions.
But there have been many Asian attacks on Asians in Australia
like what?
too.
Oh, after they've sort of ramped up the you know, Asians are bringing this over. Yeah, there's been some incidents where Asian people have been unjustly targeted due to the rhetoric that anti-immigration people have broadcast around the country, and it's reprehensible because there's no basis in fact.
But the fact is, there are Australians who are triggered about immigration. They worry about it, and there seems to be something that is, you know, across the West. I mean, even New Zealand, you know, where the Christchurch shootings. I mean, obviously
that was a white Australian
triggered enough about. You know, I'm just saying there is.
Yeah, but none of these problems a theocracy would solve. There would still be division. There would still be people who, you know, sort of commit these atrocities. There'd still be this anti-immigration and, you know, opposed to that immigration support.
I would say
there would be exactly the same problems under a theocracy that there would under this system. The only difference is that it would be
explain why not
a dictatorship rather than a you know, open democracy. And I still haven't heard what religion this theocracy is supposedly going to be. I note that you never answered that.
I said Islam, didn't I?
It's what, sorry?
It would be based on the Quran.
It would be based on the Quran.
The patriarchy, and then the patriarchy would produce enough, you know, children.
Okay. And do you think all the Christians would
accept? And they would be indigenous and stop us upsetting the locals with a demand for mass immigration.
And do you think all the Christians would accept this?
Well, I'm just saying that their religion no longer works, because if their religion, their Christian principles were being enforced, there would be no gay marriage, etc., etc.
Well, I'm asking you whether all the Christians, do you think they would accept being in a Muslim theocracy?
I'm sure they would object to it, but I would be saying that you know, there is a reason why their religion failed, because of its idolatry and blasphemy.
So if they objected and refused to follow the Quran, how would you enforce them following the Quran?
The Quran actually guarantees freedom of belief with chapter 2 verse 256, which states there is no compulsion in belief, truth stands clear from error. And I believe that it was this verse that the First Amendment was based on. So
this theocracy, it would basically have optional laws, like you know, shouldn't have gay sex, but you could if you wanted, if that was your belief. Is that what you're saying?
No, what would happen is that there would be sexual offences, and that would include lewd acts between men and men and women and extramarital sex. That would be considered sexual offences. But if you are not charged or convicted of it, then you get away with it.
So just want to ban those things
can still do what they want to do with each other and shag and shack up with each other, provided they're discreet. They just don't come under the radar. You know, just don't get caught cottaging.
And so, do you think that they would just accept that? The Christians?
No, they would obviously not, because.
So how would you enforce it if they do not accept it?
No, what you're asking me, I think, is how would I persuade the government to accept it?
No, how would you accept so political power comes from a mandate from people, from ordinary people, the masses, right? You understand that
no,
political
I think it comes
power
from above. It comes from the fourth estate, i.e. mainstream media. So most people are sheeple and can be made to believe in anything, and the fourth estate, mainstream media, tells them what to think, and they will think it.
So let me get this
actually,
straight.
wait. I want to
Sorry,
ask:
Amy,
Are you a 4chaner?
No, I Jen's into
Reddit?
4chan, but not me.
Okay, because I used to be a Pollock for a very long time. I was mostly fighting on with them, but
I posted something and they kicked me. The first thing I posted and they kicked me.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
I thought they had free speech, but obviously not.
I think your speech is sort of promoting a sort of dictatorship by theology, where anybody who doesn't conform to your particular ideology experiences the weight of a martial or by the sword response.
Not by the sword, but I mean, basically now this is a liberal dictatorship, because a lot of conservatives are saying we can't even say anything without being cancelled. We're so afraid.
It's a democracy.
And we had an election and it was stolen from us. I mean,
why would we want to ban gay sex or sex outside of marriage? What's the rational reason for that if there's no God?
For stable marriage, a stable society, enough people to enter the labor force so you won't have mass immigration, and that kind of thing.
But is that the problem with the world right now? Not enough people? We're having a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, we know that the West is whinging about immigration. All of it. It's not just America, it's Western Europe. It's not just Western Europe and America. It's also
I think it's just always been that way. I think just it's this. We were just been talking about this today. I think it's just the in-group, out-group that has just existed within mammals for a very long time.
Yeah, but, I mean, I guess change is always unsettling and people don't like change. But I imagine there was a happier time, even if in our lifetimes, when people say, well,
I think it's the best
just
of all
on
times
my interpretation of what you've described as sort of a religious theocracy that sort of targets these groups for legislation against their lifestyles. I think your system is absolutely horrendous. Like just a abhorrent system that does not value the freedoms of individuals and how they live their lives. I would see no reason to support.
Liberalism is sexual liberation, so it would be considered heresy to question that. I understand.
No, I don't think that's
what sexual liberation means. Like not be stoned to death. If that is sexual liberation.
Actually, the Quran is silent on stoning. These are Old Testament punishments.
The other thing,
there's no mention of stoning at all.
What does the Quran say the cry for apostasy is?
Nothing in this life. It's the hadith, all the nasty things you hear.
Really?
About
So it doesn't say
the
the punishment for apostasy is death? It doesn't say that?
You won't be able to find it, I promise you. Not in the Quran.
Oh, you better read your Quran, I think.
It's actually a surprisingly liberal document, as I discovered when I first read it.
Not when it comes to apostasy. Not when it comes to apostasy.
I'm saying it doesn't command, it doesn't propose any this life punishment. It's the hadith, which is a different document, that proposes death or apostasy.
Even if that's the case, you're still going to be punished in the afterlife.
But if you don't believe in it, then why would you be offended? There's lots of people say, oh, you threatened me with hell, and then think, well, if you're an atheist, you shouldn't feel threatened because you don't believe.
But what you're saying is, if someone is gay and they want to be in a gay relationship, and that's what makes them happy, that they're going to be punished for that in the afterlife.
No, they wouldn't. But
they won't?
It would only be if they get punished. It would be only in the context of public decency laws, like if they're caught cottaging, or
Allah's just going to be okay with it when they die.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise you're going to be banning flat shares between same-sex people.
But isn't it public decency just because a group of random people just recorded? They're like, this is what I want the laws to be, and it was just a time freeze. It's not like the Quran is any better than
just you gay. It's icky. It's gross. I don't understand it, but
And as James pointed out, the theocracies, or I think maybe it was Nick, the theocracies around the world that have been implemented as Muslim theocracies are pretty horrendous. Like, look at Saudi Arabia with people getting their heads cut off.
Yeah,
you count yourself very lucky to live in a secular country.
Saudi Arabia is a different kind of it of Islam. They're very, very, very strict. And it's not like that in other Muslim countries. They all have their different interpretations.
What Muslim countries is a theocracy and is happier than, say, a Western democracy?
Well, possibly Iran. Obviously we hear all sorts of terrible things about them, but you
we hear terrible things about them. Iran is not. I mean, it's good for a theocracy, but that doesn't mean it's good.
Okay, let me just explain to you why.
A lot of the young people there are upset because they don't
people are always upset about something. I mean,
sure they are.
Yeah,
but
they've got in the long term, not individuals saying, "Oh, I can't do my thing." I'm saying before the Iranian Revolution, Iran was a Western puppet, and that's why they had their Islamic Revolution, and then suddenly they were able to defy the might of America and its allies. So maybe it's a question of
but
whether
they became
you want
a
to
slave
live
of that one guy. They're a slave of the Ayatollah.
We don't actually know. I mean, I know one person who went to Iran and he had a lovely time. There were lots of things for him to see.
Yeah, that's just
and he
one
seemed
anecdote.
to think that the people were happy.
I mean,
but how do we know whether anyone's happy? I mean, somebody could just be pretending to be happy. There are lots of
the United States could turn
people.
Iran into a parking lot at any time. We just don't. But it's not like they are.
I feel bad for the Iranians. In my, because to me, the atheist just looks at everybody as humans, and so I view it as a handmaid's tale that actually came true. They're just stuck under a religious extremist trying to live their lives, but I wish they could. I wish they could just worship as they please, and if they didn't wear a hijab, then they don't have to.
But it's all you've heard of identitarian politics, haven't you? I mean, people get triggered about their identity. Sure. They worry about their national sovereignty, like the British did, and that's why they voted to leave. But I don't think they'll be, able to deal with the immigration thing, which they're still triggered about. So I mean, ultimately, it's about national pride, and which has a knock-on effect on our sense of self-esteem, and okay, you're talking about how terrible the Muslims are, but actually, Jewish punishments.
No, not the Muslims. Not the Muslims, the theocracies that are Muslim. We've got to differentiate. You do this a lot. We say, hey, this is bad. And you say, oh, well, the people are bad. No, the people are fine. The problem is the system.
Okay. Well, we're talking about Sharia.
I mean, that's why there's a civil war in
We're talking
Syria.
about Sharia that I think Muslims are religiously obliged to support.
Okay.
And that's why there's a civil war going on in Syria.
We don't want that anymore. And what I'm trying to say is that I'm talking about different moral systems, and what is worse than.
The problem is that you're talking about you want to implement it for the utility, but I'm failing to find where the utility in this is. If Western countries are generally happier, I know, but the slippery slopes that you're making are such stretches. And sort of you make these pronouncements like, oh, sexual revolution is what all liberals are after. That is not necessarily true. I'm a secular humanist, so my utility that I base it upon is well-being. Now, that may include, to a degree, sexual freedom to do whatever you want, as far as your sexual orientation. But that doesn't mean that's the goal that I'm after. If that is a goal that makes you more fulfilled and more happy and better off for well-being, sure. But that's not necessarily what everybody is after.
And I'm going to let Claire respond, but sure. I want to say it publicly. We got about 15 minutes, and then we're going to start outros, because with that'll probably take us into hour 4. which will be great. It's been a lot of fun, but 15 more minutes. Claire, the floor is all yours.
Oh, all right. So we were talking about, okay, I'm talking about group identity and national identity because I'm, fundamentally a political activist, and I see that, in the West, that Westerners are not very happy with their government, and they don't think their government is governing in national interest. And I think having a sense of shared values that support marriage and family values would make people happier. But obviously, the people who are happy with the system now wouldn't be. And I'm proposing a Quranic Sharia system, which I know horrifies lots of people. But there's an even stricter system, which is, Old Testament punishment, and we have to understand that Jews have been around for a lot longer than any one of us have been, and one must assume that it is because of their religion. And even if they don't all practice it, it gives them their identity, which gives them, in a way, a kind of higher status than the rest of us because they're more ancient and from the way anti-Semites are talking, that they are, all powerful because they, control the Gentile or whatever. So I'm saying, religion gives us our group identity, which can be good or bad, and this will have a knock-on effect on our mental health and self-esteem. And so I think, there are these sort of spiritual elements to certain lifestyle choices and deciding what laws you want to follow. And some of them are obviously not material and can't be measured objectively, like GDP, but in terms of personal happiness.
I mean, if you want to follow Sharia, I don't think anyone's going to stop you. You're free to live that lifestyle if that's what works for you. But the problem is when you try and impose that on everybody, and not everybody wants to live that way.
I do understand, but I'm saying, for a better sense of national identity. Well, actually, it's a return to patriarchy. That's kind of what I'm proposing.
So I've got some problems with what you've said, especially in the contradiction that you've sort of said. Well, it'd make people happier, except the people unhappier would not be happier. It's like, well, then that might not make the people, as in everybody, happier. It'd probably make them more unhappy. You also said that
we're talking about
religion. Yeah, I'll just address your points because you sort of went on to a number of different points. Religion gives people group identity. Well, that's not true. There's no monopoly of religion on group identity. What we're talking about is community gives people group identity. Just because people decide to go with a religion, I mean, we have a group identity here. We're the Skeptic Bible Study. We all are part of a community. There's no monopoly on community and group identity by religion. Identity. Well, atheistic sort of governments can give. I mean, China has a national identity. You better believe it, but they don't support religion, so that's patently false. It's demonstrably false.
Confucian principles, which gives them some kind of moral basis.
What about Soviet Russia? They had a national identity. No. Yeah, you're just demonstrably wrong. That you need religion to give yourself a national identity.
Yeah, and it needs to be, but it needs to have an ethical basis. That's what I'm saying.
Do you think ethics are only part of religion? Is that the only way you can have ethics, do you think?
Yeah, ultimately, because those are the laws that last longer.
So do you think none of us atheists have ethics then?
You don't have consistent ones. You can't even agree with each other about which ones to have.
Oh, don't we?
I mean, the theists can't agree either. They can't. You can scarcely find two theists who agree on anything, let alone everything.
Can't find two Muslims that agree completely on anything. So there's.
If the law says whatever, then they'll have to agree because the law.
Oh, they'll have to agree with you. They'll have to agree with you because you're saying you have the correct ethic structure, right?
No, I'm referring to a book.
People who don't agree on me.
Sorry?
I'm referring to a book. It's not from me. It's not me making up stuff saying you have to follow my laws.
But it's your interpretation, right? That other people disagree with your interpretation.
But I know I have no authority as a mortal and fallible woman. I can only, formulate arguments and maybe try to diagnose a problem.
But your claim that, hey, atheists disagree on morality, but religious people disagree on morality too. It shows that you don't.
They have scripture, which is objective morality as far as they're concerned.
And we have
objective if they can't
morality.
agree on it.
That brings me to another question. It's my big thing of the month, my pet peeve. I have this big beef with prophets. Why is Muhammad a prophet? I don't get Moses, I don't get Jesus, and I don't get Muhammad. I don't get why these guys have one-on-ones with God. Doesn't that seem a little strange to you?
But if they didn't invoke God to give them moral authority, then they probably wouldn't have been prophets. They just have been, revolutionaries.
Some guys.
Even if it's a lie.
I mean, prophets are very successful.
God told me this.
The ultimate argument from authority.
Yeah. God told me, so argue with him.
And obviously not all prophets have been successful. And quite a few are rejected. So
I think they've been a resounding failure in terms of helping humanity grow, in terms of doing anything that actually benefits people. Fair. What's that?
I mean, Moses brought the rule of law, to be fair. I mean, you can't have a civilization.
Moses? But Moses never existed. How could he bring forth a rule of law?
Well, the Jews believed he existed.
I think there would have been laws without a prophet to tell people what they are. We're pretty good at, creating things like the Codex of Hammurabi and
but the Babylonians are no longer
without
in
some
existence,
prophet to sort of determine what it is. We're pretty good at evaluating what's good for society and bad.
Yeah, but all these ancient empires who had legal systems are no longer in existence, but the Jews remain in existence. So that's something to consider, really.
But they're secular. They didn't remain existing because of their religion. Most of them don't practice it anyway.
And you said over half don't believe it.
How powerful it is, even when most of them don't practice it. Because it is, you say, religion. It gives them this protective wrapper. It says, you people are this religion.
It's just tribalism, though. They're only advancing their own interests instead of everybody working together for the human race. They're just working for their tribe.
Yeah, but they suffer too. I mean, they're always on about that, but they have the view that all suffering is punishment for sin, and if you believe in God, then you think, oh, I'm suffering, therefore I have sinned. What did I do that was wrong? And you go through the list of things you might have done, and then you correct yourself.
Strange fire. Maybe you made some strange fire to God. Maybe that's what you did wrong.
So why are you advocating for a Muslim theocracy and not a Judaism theocracy?
Because I'm not Jewish, and the Torah theocracy has, guess what, 36 capital offenses. Who wants that? Not Jews.
I'm not Jewish anymore either.
But they're still surviving, so that's got to be the. Oh wow, you are just.
Well, I'm saying actually that maybe they should adopt it in Israel. Then they
it must have been all those gay people.
Your particular one. That's amazing coincidence.
Yeah, it must have been all the gay people they killed over the years. That's what kept them going.
Well, I'm just saying, if all countries adopted it, if China adopted it, then I think all these countries would stop, rattling their sabers at each other and threatening war. I mean, it would be nice to avoid World War III, wouldn't it?
But Claire, imagine, that's what it was for thousands of years, wasn't it? Like, it's just now that we're starting to really, once again, the LGBT coming into fruition. But for the most part, it's been a lot of dark ages for us, and it's been thousands of years of proto-theocracies and real theocracies, and now it's us removing ourselves from that.
Yeah, but recidivism is not confined.
We only got away from.
It's like
we only started advancing when we got away from that.
I don't want to respond though. Yeah.
Well, it's maybe one step forward and two steps back. I mean, the recidivism is sort of inherent in our nature, in that we know the good and choose the evil because we think we're going to get away with it because we're special or something. And we know that the Jews ignored the laws, and then they got kicked out of Israel, and now they got back into their country, and they're not a theocracy. So
It means the United Nations is their savior.
A lot of people don't seem to believe in the UN. I mean, Trump doesn't seem quite very fond
But
of
they
them.
did give Israel the country, so that means they are the Messiah. The UN is they fulfilled prophecy. They gave
They did
the Jews
more than
Israel back.
Jesus.
Well, it was
More
kind
than
of the
Jesus.
British, destroying themselves in World War II, and then finding they could no
Destroying
longer hang on.
themselves in World. Wow.
Who?
Okay. Does anyone
Did
want to
you say
unpack
the
that one?
Jews destroyed themselves? Did I hear that
No,
correctly?
I said Britain destroyed itself by
Britain.
starting two
Okay.
world wars against
Britain.
Germany and lost its empire.
They started. I thought World War II started with the invasion of Poland.
Poland, yeah.
Well,
It did.
technically,
That's where it
Britain
all
declared
started.
war on Germany in
That's
both
Because
World
they had
Wars.
an alliance with Poland, a mutual defense
Yeah,
agreement.
but it's like
Yeah.
the Poland had a German king in the 1600s, so it's not like Poland was basically Germany's backyard, right?
So they should have invaded another country. Of course, that's the first thing you do when you feel like somebody's country is your backyard. You just invade them
it'll probably
militarily.
just remain a regional conflict. It won't
We should
blow up.
even
all
call the
over
plan
world.
living space. Get that?
Yeah. House extension. Yeah, let's.
Maybe
I think. Wow, I'm astounded by the amount of awful ideas coming out of the bottom right corner of
Hey,
this
we got
screen.
back to
It's
Godwin's
incredible.
law. It took us all night. We got back there.
Maybe they could even have like summer camps all around the country for
They can help them concentrate.
Volunteer employees. Volunteer employees.
People have ADHD.
It'll be fun.
Exactly.
It'll be just like summer camp, right?
Really think
Amy
hard
does.
about things.
In your summer
Amy, have you been diagnosed with ADD?
I have. We need to send love to Darth. And okay, guys, I think it's getting close to outros. We're about to slide into hour 4. I'll be honest, Claire. I think I would like to see you on a debate me, brah. That's what I really want to see. Maybe even is theocracy a good method of government? Trying to think how to phrase it.
Yeah. Would that be
Secular
fun?
government
I think that would be fun.
Absolutely.
Secular versus theocratical government, maybe, which is better.
And all right, coming
Democracy versus
soon.
Coming soon,
But
Amy.
until then, we are bringing in the mimes. We have been having our Bible study.
They are
the
so
book
super
of Leviticus, chapter 25. I know, the super straight mimes. Bringing them in. Claire, I hope you had a fun time tonight. I would like to know, where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts as we move through the book of Leviticus?
Thank you, Amy, for having me. I enjoyed myself talking to your guests. I hope I'll be able to do that again. You can find me on YouTube my channel is my name, and I'm also on Facebook. They kicked me off Twitter.
Oh no!
Yes, it's terrible, and that's my main operating.
They kicked Trump off Twitter
anyway.
too, so don't feel too bad.
I think he's starting a class action. Maybe you can join that. I'm joking. Please don't.
He's making his own thing, like his Trump book or whatever.
Really? That's hilarious.
Well, I'm a Trump supporter, but I know I'm outnumbered here.
No. What's it called? Yeah, not necessarily. I I won't even say who. You can probably take guesses, but we still love each other, even though
Yes.
We don't have to agree on
Diversity
that
is our
everything.
strength.
Exactly.
And finally, I'm an agnostic who supports a theocracy because I'm a conservative and I believe that we can only remain in existence as nations with good parenting and stable families. So that's why I support theocracy. And that's really my final thought. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so very much, Claire. And all right, we're moving right down the. Oh, thank you so much, Claire. And we're moving right down the line. Mark, we have been studying the book of Leviticus, chapter 25. Hope you had a fun time. Where can people find you? And what are your final thoughts?
I've had a fantastic time, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can have more Amy madness, more madness. Yeah, no, it's been great. You can't really find me anywhere because I'm not a presence on the internet apart from a lurker in the background usually. So look for me in the shadows.
You can find him here a lot.
Yeah, you can find me here, and I also am known to hang around modern day debate and get into furious arguments in the chat there. So that's fun. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been an absolute blast.
Absolutely.
All I can say is there's no monopoly on community, and this is a community, and it's a lovely community, and there's no religion required to make a community of people that support and love each other and treat each other well, and I think that the utility of community is what gives it its power, not sort of a religion or some authority in the background. Leviticus, what a horror show Leviticus is. I think that most people can agree on that if you read it at its face, it's an absolute nightmare of a text. Probably one of the worst, I would say. I would guess. Yeah. So
hard to imagine worse.
Very hard. Do not burn your children, please. It is not the right thing to do in any circumstances, no matter how strange their fire. Please do not burn them. It's not cool.
Don't sell them into slavery either, right?
Don't take on voluntary workers and sort of keep them and pass them down to your children either. Not cool. But thank you so much, everybody. Beautiful to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mark. And all right, with that, I'm handing the keys to James. James, we have been Skeptic Bible studying Leviticus 25, 2 chapters left, and I think just one podcast. We'll knock it out next.
Leviticus?
My body is ready.
I don't think so, but we can get you ready before the next Bible study. But yeah, this was a successful broadcast. Good conversation tonight. And thanks everybody for coming on. And we look forward to being back soon. Yeah. So thanks, guys. We just hit 617 subscribers. It's been a wild ride this past week and a half. We've been growing pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, we have been getting so much more. How should I put this? We've been having so much more fun. We just released 2 new shows. So check out Debate Me Bra with Church Entropy versus Leo Felius and Talk Skeptic to Me with Pat Lowinger.
Yeah. That debate went really well. I'm very happy with how that turned out.
Yes, I think it went pretty damn awesome. And with that, I'm sending love. I think Nate in chat sending love to Nate.
Thanks, Mark and Claire, for coming on.
Yes, and I want to thank my co-host, James W., with our guests, Mark, Nick, Oz, and Claire, along with all the lovely people in chat and our awesome mods who make this stream so great, and our viewers. our viewers sending so much love. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that all button icon so you can be part of our live streams for YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. And if you'd like to help us make even more fun content, feel free to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman with lots of awesome perks. I'm Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next adventure of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night,
guys.
everyone.